Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the final race of the brand new Creator Series season. It's been a pleasure having you all season long. Of course, tonight we crown a champion. 3 drivers in the mix. We're here at Marina Bay in Singapore. My name is, of course, George Morgan, gracing you with my presence once again after a little layoff. Joining me as well, once again, as always, it's Badgerman. Badgerman, we're back, and the title will be decided tonight.
Yeah, and it's very easy to calculate as well because we have only 5 points difference between the top 3 drivers. So you win and you clinch. It's that simple. 7 points the gap obviously between P1 and 2. So even with the fastest lap, it's still 6 and a 5-point gap cannot be overcome. So it's very, very easy to follow along. If none of those 3 drivers, Safzo, Just One Ali, and Tiamat Marduk is going to win the race and we have someone else who wins, then we have to start getting into the nitty-gritty of the calculations. But it's going to be an interesting one. I've always wanted for Singapore to be a season finale somewhere. It could not be a better location, it could not be a better track for it, and it could not be a better championship battle tonight.
No, not at all, Badgerman. I have to say as well, big thank you, RickD65. Yes, my mic once again was on stereo mode. Do apologise. It's now been monoed, so you can hear me through both cans now. Apologies, folks. Brand new update for OBS, and naturally it just changes everything. So we've had to come back to square one again. But we are back, and a big warm welcome, everybody. Of course, let us know where you're all from. We've got many people here in the live chat. RickD65, Gareth Allen, of course, who I believe commentated in my absence last week. Fantastic job, might I say as well, Gareth. Well done. F1 Kid as well. Underrated Track Singapore. You might be right. I tell you what, it delivers a clinic. And big hello to Azzy as well. Hello, Azzy. Big warm welcome to Demagoland as well. My money's on Dirk for the win tonight. Yes, I'll be poorer by the end of it. I think you are correct, Demagoland. Yeah. I think that is certainly on the cards. Big hello to Hoodie Pete as well. I hope you keep him well. Honestly, guys, let us know where you're from in the live chat. Make sure, if you haven't done so already, to drop a follow to the channel. We want to hear from you as well, folks. Get those clips as well shared. If there's a specific moment that you've really liked or enjoyed, or something that's entertained you, please don't be afraid to use the clips part of this channel, because honestly, we use them for highlights. If any of you guys want to put your own clips here at the Creator Series, we encourage it. It's what this platform's all about. If you haven't done so already, like I said, leave a follow. Also, check out the Creator Series, of course, on social media. You've got Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube now as well. The clips have been flying all over the place. Everyone has been enjoying the brand new Creator Series, and it's great to see. And Badgerman now, 3 drivers in the mix tonight. Of course, Tiamat Marduk being the 3rd driver. Of course, you've got Just One Ali as well. Zafso, who is currently leading that charge as well. Only a mere 5 points, as you alluded to. Fastest lap, take that out of the equation. It's not going to matter tonight. It's all a case of who's fastest on track.
Exactly. It's all a case, really, not even that much about who's the fastest on track, but who makes the right decisions. Because it is Singapore. It is going to be 61 laps of this track that already is quite long. I mean, in qualifying, we're going to expect lap times of around 1 minute 36, maybe dip into the 1 minute 35s, and that's the qualifying. In the race, the average lap under green, let's say, is going to be around 1 minute 39, maybe 1:38. So you multiply that by 61, you get a race that's at least 100 minutes long. And with the walls being as close as they are, and the track basically being the Monaco of the East, I think if we don't have at least 3 or 4 safety cars, then something's gone seriously wrong.
Well, I personally think, and obviously there's been lots of talk about the actual conditions for this race as well, Badgerman, because I happen to know that and as you guys know as well, the weather for this particular series is dictated by real-life weather. It is actually following the real-life forecast, and I can tell you, folks, the forecast in Singapore right now is looking particularly damp, Badgerman.
Oh, well, that's gonna throw a spanner into some of the works. Because I was telling all week, you know, I was talking to drivers. I was trying to be very cryptic because I don't want to give secrets away. I don't want to, you know, help drivers. You know,
well, I think the weather is something that everyone can access, though, isn't it? And we know how this championship works.
Hello. Hello. Okay. I just had my audio just cut out for no reason. Sorry.
Goodness me. Yeah. No. What I was alluding to was the fact that obviously, you know, it's a real life weather system we have here at the Creator Series. Obviously, that decides where it's going to be. it seems to me that's where we're going in terms of tonight's forecast.
Yeah.
It seems like it's going to be an extraordinarily wet Singapore Grand Prix. In which case, safety cars, as you say, definitely at the. I think it's going to be at the peripheral front. I think of the drivers' minds.
Even more so if you have not just Singapore. I mean, Singapore in the dry is enough of a challenge for the drivers. You add rain to it, and again, how close the walls are. Yeah, I think I don't really want to make that bet, but I'm gonna say it. I don't think we're gonna have 10 finishes.
Well, I think
if it rains,
yeah, that's, Badgerman has certainly got the trust of all the drivers here today. Yeah, so 10 finishes. That's your prediction. I want to hear from you guys at home as well.
Less than 10. 9 or less, single digits.
Goodness me, they must be horrendous drivers. That's incredible.
No. It has nothing to do with the quality of the drivers. It has everything to do with the way the cars handle this year. With rain added to the mix, and with the track, really. That, I think, is the biggest part, because I call it Monaco of the East. The one thing that it differs from in regards to Monaco is that it does have at least decently long straights. I mean, if you think about the straight coming out of turn 4, the Raffles Boulevard, if you think about the main straight, if you think about the other DRS straight out of turn 13... It has a couple of straights where, you can accelerate at least a little bit, and it is a bit faster in terms of the average lap speed. If we compare, Monaco's 165 kilometers an hour based on the real-life lap record. Singapore's 179, so a whopping 14 kilometers an hour difference there. And that makes it trickier because we all know the higher the speed, if you do crash, bigger the impact and more likely that you are going to be eliminated.
Yeah, well, there you go, folks. That's the analytics from Badgerman right there. I mean, the fear factor for me, I think turn 1 is very risky. I mean, obviously, especially at the start, because obviously at Shear's corner, you come in to the left. It's like a 90-degree left, almost cutting straight through into a chicane, which then leads you round towards turn 3, leading towards turn 4. Obviously, at the very start, that's going to get quite congested. I think a little bit claustrophobic, I think, between certain drivers, and certainly those that are perhaps looking to gain places off the start, slamming on the brakes immediately in very wet conditions can certainly lead to some chaos, certainly on the opening lap. But then, of course, you've got the long straights, then heading in as well to Sector 3, and, of course, that famous Turn 13 chicane, which can certainly upset you before the Connaught corner at Turn 14. I could see there being many a driver locking up through turn 13 because we've seen it time and time again, and that wall gets closer and closer each time we see it. And I have to tell you, it can really rattle a driver's confidence should they get that wrong.
It certainly can. Getting back to turn 1, I think the one thing that does mitigate it a little bit somewhat is the fact that you do have quite a bit of runoff area there, and I hope that the drivers are not afraid to use that. I don't think they would be. So if you are on the outside there, I would go the Ross Chastain route. If you remember the NASCAR race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway at the Grand Prix track last year, on a safety car restart, on a full yellow restart, he went just straight on and took the exit road. That's basically what I would do. I would immediately already have prepared in my mind, you know what? There's exit road there. There's runoff area there. Probably gonna take it. I wouldn't even make an attempt to make the corner. Quite honestly, if I'm on the outside at the start and it's wet, I probably wouldn't even make an attempt to make the corner. I'd just straight up take the runoff area and hope that I don't get a penalty for it.
Well, you got to take your chances. Obviously, use the circuit. That's what it's there for. Obviously, don't use the walls. That's not what they're there for. I mean, naturally, we're looking forward to seeing who comes out on top. Lots of drivers, obviously, showing a lot of promise. Obviously, I believe the wins record has pretty much continued. We still have yet, if my data serves me correctly, yet to crown a driver to score 2 wins in a single season. That is baffling. I really thought we would have had one by now. Obviously, given the fact that we've got the likes of Tiermat Marduk, who certainly seems to be relatively consistent. I mean, if you look at his results, ever since his win at Silverstone, he has been in the top 6 on every single occasion. Last time out finishing 2nd place. Of course, looking here at the top end, Just One Ali also showing a a well-harnessed level of speed. I think the only time where he let himself down was obviously the Netherlands. I think if we remember correctly, his fuel load let him down there. So it's all a case of really just drivers using their common sense, I suppose, at this point.
It certainly is, and it really goes to show just how many things can go wrong if you look throughout the season.
But they can make things go wrong that you would think can't go wrong. They just find new ways of doing things wrong.
Yeah, but you have to pay attention to all those details. That's the thing. Like, you have to make sure that literally everything is right, and you mess up one tiny thing, and it can have drastic consequences. You don't fuel enough, which, normally you would think, nobody's going to underfuel 7 laps. Well, until just when Ali did it in Zandvoort. So,
he wasn't the only one either. He wasn't the only one.
He was not the only one either. I think Rutenius was the other one.
Yes, correct.
Who was also struggling a lot on fuel. So, you have to really pay attention to every single detail. And if you have someone to work with, like an engineer, for example, I'll try to toot my own horn here, but he can take care of that.
The setup.
I gave who a setup?
That was your setup, wasn't it? You're in charge of Rutenius.
No. He's in charge of himself.
Oh, that's it. Pass the buck.
No, I'm certainly the one thing I'm never responsible for is the setup, because I'm not the setup expert at all. I'm more, strategy and things like that, and making decisions at the time, but not so much setups. But it's very important that you have either you go through all of that yourself, which usually I think takes at least half an hour of probably closer to an hour actually, of just practicing the right things and collecting a bit of data, or you have someone do it for you, which is rare, granted, but it's very important that you do that. Okay, how much fuel am I gonna need? What's the fuel consumption per lap at least know that, because you can then just times it by the laps, add half a kilogram extra for safety reasons, let's say, or 1 kilogram if you're worried about the FIA. Not here, thank goodness. I'm still salty about that. I'm still salty about Sebastian Vettel losing that second place. I'm still salty about it.
I think there were many heartbroken people there, I think, Badgerman. I don't think you were on your own there, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I know I was on my own.
We were all wondering what could have been. Could Sebastian Vettel have got his podium? But never mind. Obviously, some of us have moved on. But looking now into this, looking into this one tonight. Obviously, guys, I'm loving the interaction we're currently having in the live chat. Thank you all so much for joining us here tonight. I'm literally seeing now F1 Kid, Hoodie Pete, you guys are relentless there in the live chat. Keep it coming. That's what it's for. But yes, we're looking forward now to a great race. Lots of drivers in the mix. I'm kind of surprised that Meriki isn't in this title fight, to be honest, because I was very impressed with him. Of course, heading into Belgium, picking up his win off the back of a trip to the Williams Esports Lounge, where he dominated that particular event. Also a driver that, since his win, has yet to feature outside of the top 6, which is a brilliant record for Meriki to keep. Obviously, Alex Gillen, if he joined the series sooner, there's a good chance he would have been in the title fight too. Obviously, coming off the back of a win at China last week, which I have to tell you, obviously, watching back some of the clips that I have seen back, it was quite a feisty affair at China. Would I be right, or is there a better description to sort of summarise what happened last week?
No, feisty is pretty good. I think we had quite a bit of a last corner drama, not just last lap drama, but last corner drama between Bushy Ant and Jusman Ali. Bushy Ant actually ending up completely turned around, and I think even he did not actually DNF. Sorry, he finished P15, but he didn't actually DNF there on the final lap. But certainly heartbreak for Bushy Ant and Jusman Ali. I've heard a lot of drivers say that it was 60-40 on Jusman Ali, but not enough to give a penalty. I have my own opinion. I'm not going to share it here, but I think 60 is a bit on the low end. But regardless, it was certainly elbows out. That's for sure, as Gareth is saying in the chat there. And I don't think that will change tonight. I think we're going to see the same level of feistiness. Except possibly for the top 3 championship leaders. I think they're going to be a bit careful because they know At least in the beginning, because they know if they're out, they're likely not going to have a chance to win the championship. So they want to stay in as long as they can to make sure that they have a fighting chance right at the end. So I think those three are going to take it a bit more cautiously. Everyone else, I think there's going to be some fights to be had.
Well, we've also got, not just yourself, obviously, as an expert here tonight as well, Badgerman. We've also got an expert on track tonight, Sebastian Bobeck, who is, of course, the Haas engineer for Thomas Ronha, is joining us on the grid tonight at Singapore. Very exciting to see someone like him on the grid, obviously, racing here tonight. Happen to know that he is also fairly decent where it comes to pace, too. Do you consider him to be one of the front runners heading into qualifying?
Getting into qualifying, I don't think so. For the race, however, he's someone that we're going to have to keep an eye on. Because again, being an engineer yourself, like Sebastian Bobeck, at the highest level, F1 Esports, Haas, Thomas Ronha, RAG, he's recently been announced to be taken over by RAG Esports as well as an engineer. And so you have someone there who knows the data inside and out, and he will make good decisions, or he at least is a lot more likely to make good decisions than most of the other drivers. And so you definitely expect him to have a good strategy, to make the right calls during safety cars that really, let's be honest, at Singapore are inevitable. And I've seen him race before. I think he's got good pace, certainly, but I don't think he's quite there with the likes of Tiamat Marduk, with the likes of Juswan Ali, Bushy Ants. I think he's a little bit off that, but wouldn't be surprised if we see him in Q3.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see whether he can deliver. Obviously, we're looking forward to seeing who does come out on top. Folks, please make sure as well on social media, use #CreatorSeries. We want to hear from you as well. Let us know your thoughts. Obviously, as we're about to go racing here tonight, really looking forward to seeing who you guys think are going to come out on top. Obviously, we can talk about podium sitters and winners all we want, but how about pole sitters? Who do we think is going to be on pole position for the start of this Singapore Grand Prix? Badgerman, give us your thoughts.
That's a good question. I'm going to go, once again, I feel like I've done that last time, and it worked like a charm, really. I think Bushy Ants is going to get pole position again. He's just got that pace, and then it just all goes wrong in the race for him. But he definitely has the pace on one lap, so I think Bushy Ants definitely a driver to keep an eye on for pole position. If I had to give it a lap time, I'm going to try that again and make it 2 for 2.
That's what I want to hear. Certainly, I want to hear. I want to hear the guys in the live chat as well. I want to hear you guys. So I'll let you continue as well, Badgerman. But I want to hear, who do you think is going to be on pole, guys?
Yeah, I would say Bushy with a 136.1.
36.1 for Bushy. Well, that's interesting. Let us know, folks, who you think, and we will bring it straight to you. Obviously, we're just waiting now for the drivers to head out for qualifying, in the midst as well of doing my little necessaries in terms of the widgets, etc. So you guys will have that very shortly. In terms of a track like Singapore, where do we see the optimal laps here, Badgerman?
The optimal laps, I mean, esports pace is 135 flat, so that would be that would be very optimal. I don't see it happening here for us though, and so I think in Q1, if you want to make it through, you gotta be. I mean, 36s I think are generally safe. Maybe a 137.0 37.1 might still do it, but that's going to be right on the cusp. Even 36.9 maybe isn't fully safe, but if you're in the mid 36s or even towards the higher 36s, 36.7, 36.8, I think you're going to be safe.
Yeah, well, there we go, folks. That's certainly the word from Badgerman. We'll have to certainly see whether that is going to be the case, and we'll pan across, actually, and show you what's going on at Singapore at Marina Bay. We can see already some activity down in the grandstands there. You can see, obviously, our sponsors, Grid Finder, littered across this circuit too, not to mention the likes of Sim Racing Centre, who have also partnered up with us, but Grid Finder that have put in such a lot of work in behind this series and have really got involved. And it's been a pleasure having them here at this wonderful championship. Looking forward to seeing who comes out on top in this one. The grid already getting lit up with cars, certainly here at Marina Bay. And we will be seeing the cars go around this 5.063 kilometre circuit. Of course, plenty of races held here in the past at Singapore. In total, actually, 21 Grand Prix held at Marina Bay Street Circuit, which is brilliant to see. Or should I say the Singapore Grand Prix has held 21 Grand Prix historically. But we're now seeing some activity in the Mercedes garage. Obviously, lots happening here at Marina Bay. And the marshals looking onwards. In terms of the conditions, looks like it's going to be changeable, Badgerman.
Yeah, for now we are going to have dry conditions, but that might all change later on in Q2 and Q3. We might actually see a bit of rain later on, but I think for Q1, as much as a lot of the drivers do use intermediate tires right now because it is the intermediate championship, of course. We're not going to have any rain yet. But for Q3, we might actually end up with a little bit of rain.
Well, we'll wait and see. But certainly, hopefully there'll be no thunderstorms, no thunder and lightning here at the Marina Bay circuit, though it has been known to happen. Obviously on the game, it hasn't quite accounted for that. Now once the cars make their way out, this is Sebastian Bobek. Actually working his way through the circuit as well. Pleasure to have him with us. And looking forward to seeing what he can deliver here tonight for Alfa Romeo. Of course, this being his first appearance in this top 20 of drivers, we'll certainly look forward to seeing how he can push around the circuit, try and optimise his lap times. And familiar colours as well, because obviously lots of rumours surrounding RHG and Alfa Romeo. We'll have to wait and see whether that is going to be something. We'll have to wait and see. But nonetheless, it is going to be first come, first served, 50 minutes to decide who will be moving through to Q2. And it tends to get quite tentative, especially into the last 5 minutes.
Certainly does. For now, this is a bit of fun for the drivers, I would say, going with their intermediate laps. At least most of them are. Let's see, do we have any soft runners out on track? We do. Just one Ali, Carbon Shadow, Formula Racers, Sebastian Bobek on hards. Am I seeing that? I'm seeing that right. Wow. That's an interesting choice. I actually don't blame him, to be quite honest. Because one thing that I did talk to a couple of drivers before during the week was I told them that they should, at least in the race, avoid one certain tire. I didn't tell them which tire. I just said there's one tire compound that you probably want to avoid in the race. And I think most of them got it. I'm not sure that Ben Daly understood what I meant. But what I meant was, really, in the race, you don't want to use the hard tire. It's just way too slow around here. Yeah, it lasts long, but it's way too slow. You lose so much time per lap. It's absolutely not worth it. Softs are fine, mediums are fine. Hard tire, absolutely not worth it. And so it seems like Sebastian Bobek says, well, if I'm not going to use the hard tire in the race, which again is the smart choice, why not use it in qualifying to set a banker lap? Very, very clever choice there. As we see the first laps trickle in. Mr. Dale 38.8. That's on softs. Curbs 39.3 on softs. Ilkay 40.4 on softs. So all three of those not in the intermediate championship. First car to be in that. We are waiting for cars to cross the line. I think that's going to be Lars. Let me see. Yeah, Lars is on an out lap. Scar's just invalidated. My goodness. Formula Racers is on soft, so it's going to be Dirk to be the first car to set a lap time on Inters.
It's moments like this where I'm glad to have you on board, Badgerman. I've just had an EGO dumper crash here right now. So I'm actually out of the game, so apologies, guys, at home. Obviously, we will be back with you. As you can hear, I'm loading up the game. But yes, give us some word, Badgerman. Let us know where we are right now in terms of what's happening on the grid and keep the audience entertained for us.
Yeah, so we got 12 minutes 40 left, and just one Ali actually going purple in the first sector, only to abort his lap and go back into the pit lane. So, very interesting that. Meanwhile, Dirk coming across the line. First car on the Inters, 44.9. And that just tells you all you need to know about how viable the intermediate tires are. Bushy on Inters, 44.2. And we got Arian on Inters as well, 43.1. Tiamat Marduk on Inters, 43.7. So Arian currently leading the intermediate championship ahead of Tiamat Marduk here for today. We just had Liam cross the line, I think, 44.4 in P8, and two cars entering the pits. Next is going to be Adam in the Aston Martin replacing GB68 today, who is not here, who had originally an outsider's chance at winning the championship. What he needed to do was win the race with the fastest lap, require Sapso to score exactly 0 points, then he would be tied with Sapso. Ale was allowed to score 2 points. He would have been tied with Ale as well, but he would have won on countback against both of them. And then... Oh, no, sorry, 1 point for Ale. Ale... Hold on. Now I'm messing up. No. 2 points would have been okay, because Ale hasn't won yet, and GB would have. Tiamat Marduk would have been allowed 4 points, and then GB would have had that outsider's chance come true. But he's not here, so we don't have to talk about that. It's not going to happen. GB68 remains at best in P4 in the championship, and the top 3 are still fighting, and Mr. Dale is still leading in Q1 here with a 38.8. I think it's not the best lap. I'm actually really surprised by Sebastian Bobek's 39.3 on hard tires. Just to give you an idea, the hard tires here around Singapore, 1.8 seconds a lap slower than the softs. So you take that away, he effectively, if he was on softs and did the same kind of lap and used the soft tires to the same extent as he has used the hards on that lap, he would have had a 137.5. That's a decent lap. That would be a P1 right now by 1.3 seconds.
Incredible, to say the least. Mr. Dale, though, still on top. Soft tyres now on the car, but in the pit lane, as are the rest of the top 4 already. We've seen many cars out on intermediates. Merakino, who currently sits in 5th, and he's currently set the fastest time that we can see with cars currently on the intermediate tyre. Obviously, Mr. Dale will wait and see whether he comes out once again on those softs and enlists a faster time. But now we're into the final 10 minutes. Get the feeling we haven't missed too much already, guys, so we will be back here with some more action for you. Plenty more drivers still waiting in the wings, as now we're seeing Formula Racers make his way around the track too. And marking his return after P16 at China last time out, prior to that 9th place. His best finish this season being 7th when we went racing at Austria, should I say? I nearly said Australia, as he now heads up towards the line now to commence his next lap. And he'll be looking for a big run as well. Obviously not well known for his, should we say, partaking on the F1 game, but more known around his real-world sort of content around the real-life Formula 1 season. Tends to be quite active on Twitter and social media generally. Isn't that right, Badgerman?
Yeah, very much so. Being someone who's very active on Twitter myself, I definitely see his tweets quite a lot. Very good reporting usually about things that that are interesting to hardcore F1 fans, but not necessarily make the headlines. So definitely, absolutely a content creator to check out, as are all of them really here tonight. But yeah, most of them are obviously on the game, but Formula Racers with very, very good reporting on real F1 news and stories. But as we saw him in the last couple of races, not a slouch on the F1 game either. Definitely someone to keep an eye on for a good points result at the very least.
Yeah, well, he's used up all his ERS at this point, so he is going to be down on time. Though at this point, he is green. But only reason for that is, of course, he's still yet to set a banker lap. 8 minutes still to go here in quali. So Formula Racers now is going to be up against it in terms of getting a lap on the board, as we now ride on board with him again. And as you can see, that ERS level still stuck on that 0%. And we can see from just getting a little out of shape heading into the final sector as well. He's got a couple more corners left, turn 18 and 19, as he now hurtles through. Really did lift off at that point as well as he heads up towards the line. That's 4th fastest though, so I think he can be pleased. But just one alley immediately to the top end, purple in the first sector, and that is good title-winning form.
Yeah, that's a statement right there. And who crossed the line right behind him? That would be Sapso, one of his championship contenders, but Sapso on intermediates, needs to be said, takes the lead of the intermediate runners with a 42.6. So both making a statement here, showing their hand a bit early maybe, and we're waiting for the third of those drivers, Tiamat Marduk, to make a statement as well. He's only on an outlap right now, heading through turn 13, coming out of there and down the back straight towards 14. And it's gonna be a while before he gets to start a lap as he now enters the final sector. But very good lap from Just One Ali, 38.5. Not quite as good. I would say the whole field not quite where I expected them to be. Might have to revise my estimation of a 36.2. I thought the drivers were going to be a bit closer to esports level, but clearly I was wrong. Although it is only Q1, I don't want to be that unfair to them. It's only Q1, so you don't have to push everything. I think we're definitely going to get into the 137s later on in Q2 at the very least, if not in this session already.
Well, at this point, Haas currently hold the fastest sectors in 1, 2, and 3. Only Just One Ali takes sector 1 and 3, with Mr. Dale in between. Currently sits fastest in sector 2. It's quite interesting to see that we currently have a Haas contingent at the moment as our two fastest drivers. Formula Race is just coming into the pits now after setting his first lap. Of course, sending him 5th fastest ahead of Ilkey as well as many others. Shadow, who's currently down in 7th fastest as well, though more and more cars will be enlisting their best times too. And Dirk
Here
Chocolate,
comes Bushy Ants.
Yeah, Bushy Ants coming
And
through
it's
as well.
P1.
Immediately goes fastest, and in fact managed to go over a whole half a second faster than Just One Ali as well. So again, the track heating up here, Badgerman. More and more drivers starting to make these statements now.
Yeah, purple first sector, purple last sector, and only missed out on the purple middle sector by 16 milliseconds. So pretty much on the pace there. So very, very strong lap for Bushy Ants indeed. And we now have Arian in P12, who's going purple in the first and purple in the middle. This is going to be the next lap, but this is going to be at least a 37 if he does not end up in the wall here in the final sector, which is easier said than done. But that pace is incredible. This is perfect form right there. Gets through 18 and 19, now 20 and 21. No invalidation there. There's a yellow flag.
Oh, very...
No invalidation, but he does hit the wall. As Temamada goes P1, 37.8. Can Arian beat it? No, 38 flat. Doesn't even beat Bushy. That final sector cost him a whopping 6/10 on Bushy's time. 8/10 on Tiamat Marduk's time. If he brings that final sector down properly, we would have had a low 37 here. 37.2, 37.3 possibly for Arian, but still a statement. 2 purple sectors, and I think he's going to be safe into Q2 with that time.
Yeah, I think he will do. Scars now going up into 4th place as well, so that's a good time as well, just within that half a second gap between him and Tiamat Marduk. But I'm sure Ben Daly will be delighted with that time, 137.840, and puts him in the right place. Larsen, though, goes across the line for AlphaTauri. Obviously not making an error this time like his teammate did, but managing to secure a 137.7 and goes a whole half a tenth quicker than Tiamat Marduk. Just crazy when you say a whole half a tenth. It's mere fragments at this stage, but with 3 minutes and 20 still to go, the timer ticking downwards. More and more cars now looking to solidify their laps. Infratic being one of them. Currently sits P19, his teammate Dirk Chocolate currently in 10th now. Can Infratic move himself out to the bottom 5? Heads through now towards the final 2 corners here at Marina Bay. Turns 18 and 19. Can he lift himself out to the elimination zone? He can, ahead of his teammate as well, Dirk Chocolate, by a mere fragments again, but still both Red Bulls, this time not in the drop zone.
But now, we should say, for now, because a lot can still change.
Ouch! Ouch, Badgerman! Ouch!
Look,
Terrible.
we've seen it happen time and time again. I'm just expressing what everyone else is thinking. They're gonna have to struggle a bit. 39-3, 39-4. I don't necessarily see them being safe here. Same goes for Curbs. And same potentially goes for Sebastian Bobic with a 39.1. The 38.8 from Mr. Dale should be safe. And Just One Ali certainly feels good enough to retire from the session, so he thinks that 38.5 is good enough. But yeah, I think 39 might be tricky, because we look at who we still have to set proper lap times. Meraki JL, Safzo, Tom, Formula Racers, Liam, I mean, those drivers are not slouches. They are not slow. And they could easily improve beyond P10, P9 lap right now, beyond the 39.3.
Yeah, well, just when Ali currently sits now. To be fair, having a good run so far, though, albeit 7th fastest retires from the session. Scars has also retired. Larsen has also retired. I don't think he'll have any concern, certainly if the drivers in the bottom end of the top 10 are certainly retiring at this point. Curbs is still out on track. He's currently sat in 9th place too. Plenty many more times coming out as well. But I tell you one man who's at risk, and that's Tom. Tom currently sits 19th. He's only just left the pit lane. Another driver who's also in the bottom 5 is Meraki as well. Currently sits in 16th fastest, right on the bubble of safety, but needs to try and pull something big out the bag if he wants to stay in. But he is green in the first 2 sectors.
Yeah, another one is Liam, who's just coming across the line. 39.3 right between Curbs and the Red Bulls. So he pushes them down one further. And see, it wasn't a burn. I did not intend it as a burn. Look where they are now. P12, P13. It looked good to be P10, P11. It doesn't look so good now. Already 2 places down with many more drivers to come. Here comes Meraki, in fact. 3 seconds up on his own time. That should at least be a 39. It's not even a 38. It's a 37.9. P4, and I would say Meraki JL definitely safe into Q2. Dirk, however, is also out on a lap. I don't know. That's a out lap. That's not a flyer. And he is starting another one. Kemet Marduk out on the circuit, but has invalidated. And Curbs is trying to improve. He's up 6/10 on his own time after 2 sectors. He might actually pull it off here and beat Sebastian Bobek and go up into P9. If he finds something in the final sector, potentially P8. And he did find something in the final sector. P8 it is for Curbs. 38.4. I think he's safe. Sapso making a championship statement. P1 in Q1 for the championship leader.
Absolutely right indeed. Tom is currently sat in 19th, looking to improve as well as we now watch him peel his way through the very tight hairpin at turn 13 and trying to nurse the car through, but DRS now opened up. It's now or never if you are Tom right now. Remember, just coming out with nearly 2 minutes still to go. Heads up now towards the line. Obviously, many cars already crossing the checkered flag line. Zafso, his final lap being a clutch lap, giving him that P1 spot here in Q1. The question is, can Tom lift himself off the bottom end and secure safety? Dirk Chocolate is also at risk. 15th place, right on the bubble, as Ilke now goes 16th fastest. He's eliminated out of qualifying. Here comes now Tom through the final 2 corners. The man who was at the Alpine livery release the other day now crosses the line. Where does he sit? No qualification. Invalid. So he will not be appearing in Q2.
It would have been a 38.8 if he had not invalidated. Would have been good enough for P14 right now. And in fact, both Red Bulls had to improve and did improve. Infratic P11, Dirk Chocolate P13. They are safe. I'm surprised Sebastian Bobek is actually safe, because I thought he was going to get beaten, and he could have been if Tom improves and doesn't invalidate. And then all that would have had to happen is for Liam to improve a bit more than he did. He only ended up with a 139.3. So we have Liam, Ilkay, Carbon Shadow, and Tom eliminated in Q1. And we go on with the top 15 of this session.
Well, Dirk Chocolate managing to stay in, and just look, he is grinning. He is happy. He is through for now, but there's still more cars crossing the line. And none of them, though, will take him away from that P13 place. He's going to be thrilled. He's happy, a little touch of the mic, but nevertheless pleased with his performance. Great to see him back in amongst it in Q3. We will, of course, have a look now at the placements. Obviously, Zafso going fastest of all. Certainly a great place to start for Zafso, certainly when you've got a title challenge on the line. Larsen finishing second, Tim at Marduk third, Mr. Dale in fourth, Bushiantz fifth, Meraki in sixth, with Aryan Sanger finishing in 7th, Adam in 8th, Scars 9th, Curbs in 10th, Infratic 11th, Justwan Ali in 12th. And we've got more with Dirk Chocolate 13th, Sebastian Bobek 14th, Formula Racers 15th. We do lose Liam, it's Ilke, as well as Carbon Shadow and Tom. They are all out now of qualifying as we look to move onwards and upwards. But I tell you what, if you're Zafso right now, I think you're going to be pleased, I think, with what you've seen.
Yeah, really, with Zafso, it's an interesting thing because I asked him before, earlier today, before the broadcast and everything, I asked him, does he feel more excited or more nervous about tonight? And he actually said he really feels neither. He certainly doesn't feel nervous, but also not really excited because, the other two drivers, just Ali and Tiamat Marduk, they both already clearly stated they like this circuit. They like their chances. They rate their chances. And so Zafso actually thought he doesn't have much of a chance to hold on to the championship lead here. That P1 in Q1 might actually bring a little bit of excitement and possibly a bit of nervousness to him now. Because clearly he's got the pace to battle it out with Tiamat Marduk and Just1 Ali. So this is going to be a three-way battle, even though Zafso himself did not expect it to be.
No, absolutely not. And, we can only imagine what they must be thinking, obviously, given the fact now that we're at this point. Very, very sensitive part of the championship now, folks, obviously, with it being the final day. And it's really all up in the air. We don't know who's going to come out on top. Obviously, Zafso now with the immediate P1 in Q1. Obviously, that helps big time. But now looking ahead, obviously, they're going to have bigger thoughts in their mind. Q2, obviously, things get amped up. The track temperature rises. Obviously, there's a big battle for grip out on track. Obviously, they all want to field their faster times. I mean, it's a question of whether they can manage that pressure, Badgerman, at this point.
Certainly, yeah, that's part of it. But also, looking at the weather, it's going to be a question of not just the pressure, but do they get the timing right? Because we might actually end up with a tiny bit... it's going to be really close. Tiny bit of rain potentially at the very end of this session of Q2. Q3, however, looks like it's very likely going to be raining. But Q2, I think we might see rain as the session ends, rather. And that's why we see so many cars out on track right now. We have 13 cars already out on 14 now, because Zafso just exited the pits. And there goes number 15 in Fratic. So every car that is in Q2 now out on track.
Yep, they're all there and ready to partake. In Fratic now leaving the pit lane and making his way out onto the circuit. Both Red Bulls into Q2. They will be delighted with that fact as well. And obviously many other drivers looking to enlist their fastest lap times too. Zafso, who obviously went fastest of all in our last event, obviously securing that Q1 P1 to get things kick-started. And we said before how important it is to get dialed in to the Singapore circuit, because of course the walls are ever so tight. We saw a moment there as well from Aryan Sanga, which couldn't come at a worse time really, Badgerman, because he was on purple in the first two sectors. The final sector was looking okay, and then he had a squirrely moment heading out of turn 16 and 17.
Yeah, that does not bode well for the race. It does bode well for qualifying because he clearly has the pace. He would have had a 37.2, 4/10 quicker than Zafso, maybe 37.3 and 3/10 clear of Zafso. But he certainly would have had P1 in Q1 if not for that giant mistake. So, bodes well for qualifying, because if he just clears up his lap, then he will definitely challenge for pole position. However, for the race, it seems like the setup is a bit unstable and hard to control. And having to round this circuit 61 times. That is a total, let me just calculate this real quick. 23 corners, 61 laps. If my calculator wasn't hidden behind the chat window, it would make it easier. That's 1,400 corners that you go through. 1,403, but we'll round down to 1,400. That is, I think, the most on the calendar by far. I think even Monaco, despite its 78 laps, is going to be less than that. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. It's the longest race on the calendar as well. So, the drivers are going to have to fight the car. And in the case of Arian, if you have an unstable setup, it's not going to be fun whatsoever.
No, well, Bushians now has just gone to the top of 137.4. And that certainly gives him top spot. Larsen going third fastest. Aryan Sanga having no problem this time enlisting a lap, or certainly a pacey lap. Second fastest currently for him and the AlphaTauri. Zafso heading out of turn 13, and will now bomb down towards the Connaught corner at turn 14. 15 will follow up that, and then the Silver Arrows will make its way around the final 2 corners on the circuit as he heads out of sector 3. Obviously more cars crossing the line as we sit. Tiamat Marduk was the very first car to cross the line, 1.1 seconds off our fastest time of a 1:37.4. 10 minutes to go here now in Q2 already. Now we're whittling the time away. Dirk Chocolate enlisting a very, very difficult lap indeed. 13.3 seconds off top draw pace as now Safso makes his way up towards the line, 4th fastest in the immediate stint, a 1:38.230. We know he can go quicker than that though, and as the track warms up, obviously it'll offer the drivers a chance. But what's that I'm spying on my weather radar? Light rain in 15 minutes. So
yeah, a little bit less than that actually. For me, it says 13 minutes, and it might be a little bit earlier than that. We only have 9 minutes 20 left in the session though, so it's gonna be right at the death of the session here. When the clock hits 0, I don't think we'll get it just yet. It will be a little bit later than that, maybe 1 minute in. It might ruin drivers' last laps. I think we're gonna have to see most of the drivers start their laps, their final laps, with like a minute left on the clock to just be sure, to be safe. And so this could really change things a lot if there is rain coming right at the very end.
Well, I mean, if you're a driver now enlisting laps at the start of Q2, are you just keen to get them wrapped up really at the start of this session? Obviously, with the constant fear of the weather coming down. Obviously, if the rain hits the surface here at Singapore, I mean, the track doesn't need any excuse to be slippery. I mean, it's treacherous enough given the fact that we've got some really thick steel walls either side, or concrete barriers in between that of the track and obviously including the cars. You know, that's a lot of danger, a lot of risk, and naturally your session can be over with one touch of those walls. We're just watching now Sebastian Bobeck make his way through the final sector himself. So as I said before, Haas F1 esports engineer making his way around the final corners, making his way through now with purple in the first and second sector, looking very sharp indeed, and goes first fastest with a 37.274, and over a whole 1.5 tenths clear of Bushiance as well. A very respectable time by Bobeck.
Yeah, certainly a very strong time indeed, and that's one that can challenge Arian's time from Q1 if he had completed the lap entirely. And I hope that some of the drivers are just keeping their pace a little bit hidden at this point and just go for safe laps, because otherwise we're going to have almost guaranteed another race winner in either Sebastian Bobeck or Arian if he can keep the car pointing the right way for the 61 laps. It's very likely that one of those two is going to win that. Maybe Bushy, who also hasn't won a race yet, has he? So it doesn't look like we're going to get our repeat winner at all. Oh no, Bushy has won. Never mind. Bushy has won a race before. My bad. Can't even remember things. That's how old I'm getting.
Well, he did win at the Netherlands, so has got a win to his name. So Larsen going third fastest as well. AlphaTauri once again together, third and fourth, with Ian Sanger sitting in that fourth place. Further back, just Benali in fifth. Zafso out on an outlap, looking to improve from sixth fastest. Many other cars also looking to head out, Infratic being one of them on his outlap, and currently sits 15th fastest. And Meraki, who's also out on a lap time as well. Now he's going to look to try and enlist his first time, and I can tell you this, folks, just under half a tenth off in the first sector. This could be an impressive lap here from Jake. He now works his way through towards the next hairpin at turn 13. Very shortly he'll commence sector 3 as he now leads his way up towards the Connaught corner at turn 14. We have yellow flag in sector 2. That's obviously for the car to his left-hand side. Meraki once again green in that middle sector, as you'd expect. Obviously no time yet set, so it will be green regardless as he now peels his way through the next chicane of turn 16 and 17, and very shortly he'll head out of those particular bends and in swing of that Williams through the final 2 corners of 18 and 19, as we're now seeing him peel through the S section. Very, very technical part of the track here as he now comes up to the final corners now, 22 and 23. In comes Meraki up towards the line. What's it going to be here for the Williams? Second fastest. Very good time indeed. I've got to say, must have lost only mere fragments in comparison to Bobek in all 3 sectors, and only out by just over 1/10 of a second. Not bad at all from Meraki.
Yeah, that is exactly the case. In the first sector, he lost 0.04 of a second. Middle sector, about 7 to 8 hundredths of a second. In the final sector, another 2, and that ends up to about 1/10.5 in total. So very, very close to Bobek. Just consistently a little bit off the pace of Bobek, but quite close. And certainly with a little bit of time to be able to be found. Can't even speak anymore. My goodness. But a strong lap there. Bobek actually retiring with 4 minutes 40 seconds left in the session. Larsen also feeling good enough about himself, also retiring. So wouldn't be surprised if Meraki and Bushi decide to follow suit rather shortly, as we have more cars coming through. Waiting for Infratic, currently P15, no lap time. He's coming across the line now, and it's a 1:38.7 P9 for him now. Curbs across the line, 39.1. I think he's actually just starting a lap right now. Bushy into the pits. Scars is... oh, no, he just went P6. There you go. Scars up to P6 with a 37.698. And then next we should have Formula Racers, who's up 2/10 on his own time so far. Not enough of an improvement for him to make any positions right now, but maybe he messed up the final sector on his previous lap. And might be able to get something out of that. Nah, not really. 3/10 improvement, no position gained for Formula Racers. And I'm pretty sure some of his community members are probably in the chat again and letting him hear it, like we saw. I think, was it last race or was it 2 weeks ago? One of the two. We had a couple people in the chat from Formula Racers community who were very vocal about his not that great performance in qualifying. So maybe that'll happen again. But don't forget, when that happened, his performance in the race was actually quite good. So maybe it's a good sign.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Dirt Chocolate comes across the line and just goes up to 12th fastest, but that won't be enough to get into Q3. Now, this is a constant theme when it comes to conversation. Can Dirk Chocolate make it into Q3? Currently sits 12th fastest. As it stands, he will not be going through. Tiamat Marduk did go up 4th fastest. He's now 5th fastest now. Obviously, Bushian's currently 3rd. Zafso managing to improve up to 4th fastest after that last lap as well. Can you believe it? Just look at those time gaps. Certainly, Bobek currently holds the over a 10th of a second gap ahead of Meraki, but just look at 2nd, 3rd and 4th in this classification. Mere fragments separate the lot of them. Near enough 400ths of a second, which is absolutely extraordinary. Tiamat Malik now coming into the pits, obviously feeling very confident that he can go through. Iron, Sanga and Larsen all retiring, as has Scars. So the confidence feeling pretty high for those drivers there as well. Mr. Dale, I tell you what, if I'm you, I will not be retiring from the session yet. Either is Justin Ali. A very contrasting performance from Haas in Q2, given the fact that they were, you know, 2 of the front runners in Q1 and now currently sitting at the bottom end of the top 10. And obviously, if they fall
there's
out
rain.
of it, and we have rain. Well, that explains
the first raindrops. The first raindrops are coming down, and that's why everyone's slowing down and is just heading back to the pits. And we see no action on track right now. The first raindrops are already coming down, a bit earlier than expected. And yeah, I think that will end the session. So I think everyone in the top 10 is safe. Everyone outside the top 10 is not gonna make it, as Adam is actually attempting a run here. He's the last car out on the track to attempt a run. Curbs only missed out on P10 by just over 600ths of a second. That is cruel. That is unfortunate. But P11 for the, I think the smallest content creator that we have here in the field. As Adam is coming through Sector 2. Oh, he's 1.2 seconds down on Bobek's middle sector alone. Add another half a second from the first sector. And we're talking about 1.7 already. Yeah, he's not going to make it. That, I don't care how good your final sector is going to be. That is just not going to happen with the rain coming down now. So Q3 should be... Oh, and he invalidated as well. That is just adding insult to injury right there. But it would not have been an improvement anyway, as it was a 1 minute 40.1. So his current time still standing. And yeah, that's the session over. Very anticlimactic end. Well, as there's a wonderful spin there from Adam. That was actually gorgeous. So yeah, very anticlimactic here. But session's over, and Sebastian Bobek tops the timesheets. And we have to say goodbye to both Red Bulls. There is DRS disabled now. So right at the end, now the intermediates would be the better tire. So, yeah. So we say goodbye to Kebs, both Red Bulls in Fratic and Dark Chocolate, Formula Racers in P14, and Adam in P15.
Yeah, the top of the timing sheet, Sebastian Bobek, Meraki. Once again showing the pace we expect this time. Second fastest, Pushians. Third fastest, Zafso in fourth. Timet Marduk sat fifth. After that run, Larsen in sixth, Scars seventh, Aryan Sanger in eighth as well. Just when Ali finishing 10th with Mr. Dale as well. Both Hasses 9th and 10th. Obviously the weather helping them out there in many ways. Obviously further back, disappointment for the two Red Bulls. Once again out of qualifying. A familiar picture that we have seen all season long so far. Big, mighty shame for them. If you're Dirk Chocolate, are you disappointed at this point?
I mean, but if I was Dirk, I wouldn't be. You know, at the end of the day, he's made it out of Q1, and that's always our #1 broadcast meme at this point. So he's done that, so he's not gonna hear for another week that, oh, you got eliminated in Q1. At least he made it in Q2, which is, you know, good enough considering the quality of field we have here. Being eliminated in Q2 is not a shame.
No shame in bowing out. But obviously, looking ahead, we've now got a very wet Q3 on our hands here, Badgerman. What are your thoughts as they head? What the driver's got to do? I mean, is it going to dry up? Obviously, they're going to have all these questions on their mind. I mean, what do you think? What is going to be at the forefront of these drivers' mentality at this point?
I think the one thing that I already see is Sebastian Bobek being the first one to exit. And he is absolutely right in that, because the conditions are going to get worse. So if you can get a lap time in as quickly as possible right now, you're going to have the best conditions, the least water on track, and that should give you the best potential lap time. So I think this is, again, going to be a at least somewhat anticlimactic session here, where we might see the fastest lap times be set early, and Sebastian Bobek might very well set himself up for a pole position here.
He might well do. We'll have to keep ourselves posted as to whether he does or not. Obviously, folks, you'll be the first to see it. Obviously, many other drivers looking forward to getting themselves into race trim. Obviously, there's lots on the line, and generally with rain as well, Badgerman, it tends to stir up the best opportunities when it comes to gaining results. You know, if you've had a difficult qualifying session, you can very easily make it up in the race, especially if there are a few safety cars.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, we've seen plenty of rain qualifyings in real F1, and it always shakes things up a bit. I'm really trying some tongue twisters today. It's amazing. But yeah, it really shakes things up a bit, and really causes some crazy and honestly wonderful results. So we could see something similar here. I think this is anyone's game, but again, Sebastian Bobek going out this early, getting the best potential track conditions, the least amount of water, as it's only going to increase over the next 7-8 laps. I think he's got the best chance right now.
Yeah, well, it certainly does look like it. Tier 1 man that has been pretty on the money where it comes to getting out early is Tiamat Marduk, and he's currently heading out now, though he does have a little bit of traffic ahead of him, so I think he's just being a little patient, allowing the cluster of cars ahead of him just to dispatch themselves as they make their way down through towards the first sector. The Alfa Romeo is currently spearhead the way forward. Bobek, incidentally, going purple, as you'd expect already, on the opening lap in the first sector, and obviously he'll look to start as he means to carry on. Currently sits now in that first fastest position after Q2. We'll look to try and do exactly the same in this session. Obviously no times enlisted yet, but obviously now we're into Q3 conditions, and 8 minutes and 50. That is the time left. So I'd say probably two fast laps maximum, would you say, Badgerman?
Pretty much, although I do think that a lot of drivers are actually going to run a different route. What they're going to do is, because these intermediate tires tend to evolve a bit over time for the better, and your first lap on Inters might not be your best lap on the Inters, that we might very well see drivers just do a whole stint of like another 8 minutes and 20 seconds where they just keep rattling down these intermediate laps all the way to the end in a sort of, I do a flying lap, then harvest the battery back, then do another flying lap, then harvest the battery back, and back and forth. So we might actually see 3 flying laps in this scenario with only with the driver staying out in the process. As there goes Bobek, 48.8. He does not have the purple middle sector anymore. That went to Arian Sanger, who has beaten him by a 10th in that middle sector, but lost almost a 10th in the first. So very equal between the two there. It's going to come down to the final sector. Meanwhile, Meraki is going to be the second car to cross the line. It's going to be P2 for... Oh, Scar, sorry, hold on. Everything's being wrongfully named here on my screen. Meraki's name is Scars on my screen. Everything's wrong. My goodness, what has happened? And there goes Arian by half a 10th. He beats Sebastian Bobek.
Mr. Dale's out. Mr. Dale's out as well. He's crashed it, heading through the final corner.
Yeah.
Incredible scenes. Yellow flag then in that third sector. Sanger now goes fastest. Certainly Bobek in second, with Larsen in third. Zafso fourth. Tim and Marduk as well, moving into fifth fastest as a result. A lot of them struggling with the conditions. Justin Ali, obviously now currently teammateless at this point. Currently sits 9th fastest with no time set. He is the sole Haas car that will enlist a lap time. Never ideal though. Mr. Dale doing in quali what he tends to do in the race.
Yeah, it's not the best situation for Mr. Dale. Guaranteed to start P10 now. And Justin Ali unlikely to have a teammate close to him if he does post a lap time better than a 1 minute 50, let's say. How great would it be if he posts a 149.9 or 150.0? That we have Safsa, Tiamat Marduk, and Justin Ali all together at the start. That would be fantastic. We don't, oh my goodness, we don't quite get that 51.3. And this is where you can see the track just getting worse and worse now. Just when Ali left it too long to exit the pit lane, and he's paying for it now. And I think, honestly, session's probably over for everyone. I don't see anyone improving here. Maybe Meraki, but for anyone else, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. And since I mentioned that the names on my telemetry on my second screen are all a bit jumbled up, chat, you can guess what name Mr. Dale had when he crashed. I'll give you a hint. It was one of the Red Bulls.
Oh, goodness me. Well, I'm not going to go there, but I'll let you go there.
Yeah, but, it was Dirk. It said Dirk Choc. So
Dirk Chocolate, he is the man. But yes, no, incredible scenes here. But there we are, folks. If you're wondering what's happened to our cameras as well at the bottom right, folks, obviously with the OBS update, it's moved all the images around, so do apologise for that. We're just seeing now the Williams and the Mercedes coming together as they make their way into the pit lane. Zafso being that particular Mercedes. A lot of hilarity out on track, as much as there is in the commentary box as well, which is a pleasure to see, but plenty of action to be had nonetheless. Great to be here, of course, for the Creator Series race at Singapore. Obviously deciding a champion here tonight, of course. Looking forward to seeing who's going to come out on top. Obviously at this point in time, Sanger sits on pole position and looks good money. I got to say, good value for the pole at this point. Let us know, folks. Obviously the session is still counting down. Who's taking pole for the start of the Singapore Grand Prix? Is it going to be Sanger, or will Bobek go out for another run? There you see Sanger out on track. Fish helmet, pretty apt considering the conditions we're currently in here, Badgerman.
Yeah, certainly. It is really like a bit of an aquarium here, as Bobek actually cuts that final chicane on the track there and goes back into the pits after, I think he actually went out again on an out lap and now comes back in. I think he realizes that the conditions are just not viable for another run. And just when Ali is attempting, because he knows he made a mistake, he could potentially improve, but he certainly needs to improve. More cars now exiting as well. We got Bushian, Tiamat Marduk, and Larsen all out on track as well, just leaving the pit lane. So we have another 4 cars plus the already crashed out Mr. Dale still in the pits. So it'll be Bobek now in, Safso, scars Meraki and Mr. Dale. As Arian is he looking to make another lap? No, he's down 9/10, I don't think. And he also cuts the final chicane, and he will also enter the pits. So, yeah, I agree with Hoodie Pete there in the chat. This might very well be the final order. Maybe just when Ali can improve on his lap, but the weather now seems too much. The rain on the circuit is too much standing water. And any improvement is going to be very, very hard to come by.
Yeah, I think you could be right. Obviously, you have to wait and see whether any cars can deliver. TMM Marduk currently out on an outlap. Bushy Ants is as well. Sebastian Bobek obviously looking to chase for that fastest lap. Obviously, Ian Sanger staying in the pits for now. Obviously, I don't think he's going to come back out. Probably feels quite content. Larsen just about to commence his flying lap. And makes his way through the latter sector. And, he'll then hit the home straight. Obviously, he's got quite a collective around him. Obviously, an Alpine joining him there of Bushy Ants. Obviously, the relationship between Tom and Bushy Ants being quite strong this season. They've worked very well together. Obviously, Tom still looking to try and get a victory to his name. Bushy Ants has had no such concerns, has one in his locker. Obviously, we alluded to Zandvoort earlier on in tonight's broadcast, as he now makes his way through. And a real interesting question here from Hoodie Pete as well, saying, question is, will Mr. Dale make it past lap 1? A very, very interesting question. Obviously, remember, folks, leading back towards Zandvoort, as we speak about that, he did manage to get, I believe, make it through the race, incidentally. He did not actually crash out, so credit to him for that. But different set of circumstances here tonight. The possibilities here around Singapore, given the fact the track's wet, could we see an early bin for Mr. Dale?
I mean, I was accused of being toxic earlier. What a question! I had one lap. I think he will be able to survive. I'm not gonna, commit to saying, oh, he will guaranteed finish the race, because it is Singapore. It is 61 laps, and sometimes it's just out of your own hands what happens. Sometimes another car just crashes into you. Those things happen in racing. But, I'm not going to be here to say, oh, he's going to bin it within 5 laps or 10 laps. No, I think, he's in Q3. He's clearly got some level of car control to get here. So, I'm not going to be that toxic. I've been accused of toxicity earlier. I'm not going to do that.
Come on, Patrick. Come on, lay it on the line. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be?
No, I'm not going to do that. I think all the drivers are capable. And I remember, I'm a bit sad that Maxime MXM isn't here for this, because I remember chatting in the chat earlier this week or late last week, I think, after the Shanghai race, and was asking her about Singapore, and she said she wouldn't survive more than 20 laps. So, I would have been able to bring that up if she had been here, but since she's not, that's going to be tricky. But yeah. Oh, as Meraki's now crashing himself into the wall. That was very deliberate.
Bobek as well, spinning in the middle sector as well, losing the car altogether. But I think the drivers are trying to extract as much as they can, but it's proving to be a fruitless task right now. Many others as well making their way around him at Marduk. I can't see there being any improvements, and I fear that exactly what we heard in the live chat is going to come true. We are going to see this lineup remain the same. So Ian Sanger looking good value for pole position here at this point. And it's looking like it's evident as now Ian Sanger bins it into the wall as well. Front wing broken on the AlphaTauri. Not ideal at all, but Bobek now will certainly not be improving on his time, and therefore I would definitely imagine they will all be coming in. We can see that just when Ali has actually binned it into the barrier himself, the car is now officially out of this session.
Tiamat Marduk has a penalty. Tiamat Marduk has a 5-place grid penalty for a collision. How did that happen?
Goodness me.
Oh my.
Well, that is drama. I mean, we all thought the drama was going to come to an end, folks, but now clearly it is certainly on the table here that we're likely to see Tiamat Marduk take a 5-place grid penalty. We'll bring you some more news on this as it comes along, but there you can see Tim Martin making his way through the circuit. Obviously, no laps are going to be improving at this point, folks. Iron Sanger is surely going to take that pole position spot. Oh, look at that. He's just binned it straight into the barrier. Goodness me.
He's had enough.
He has had enough.
It's Safso! Safso now with a penalty as well.
Safso's got a penalty.
What is happening?
I tell you what.
Unbelievable.
We talk drama. A lot of wall breaking here. I mean, what are we seeing? I mean, we just saw Safso pin it straight into the wall. I don't know what we're seeing right now, folks at home, but I can assure you it's certainly not for before 9 o'clock stream. And Iron Sanger is currently on pole, as we have seen. Sebastian Bobek second, Lars third. Safso will take a grid penalty. We're not sure what's going to happen now as we head into the race, but he did qualify fourth. Tim Marduk qualifying fifth, but will also take a 5-place grid penalty. Bushian sixth, Scars seventh, Just One Ali eighth. Meraki 9th, and Mr. Dale binning it in 10th place. Dramatic scenes, folks. I tell you what, it's never a dull day when it comes to the Creator Series. This is what you're here for. Drama at its finest. And that's what we've got here tonight. Incredible. I mean, who says we don't deliver?
Yeah, anyone who says that is clearly lying. But what that means now is that Just One Ali is now starting in P6, with Safso starting in P9 and Benjamin Daly starting in P10. Despite Ali just completely misjudging the conditions in Q3, going out way too late. I think he was the 9th car out on the track, maybe even the 10th at the start of qualifying. He was one of the last two to exit the pit lane. And all of a sudden, as drivers are leaving the session, what is happening? Hold on.
Oh, I'm getting some news. I'm getting some news. I've got news. I believe I heard reverse grid for the start of this race. We've got a reverse grid for the start of this Grand Prix, folks at home.
Hold on, is that why they got the penalties?
This is what we're hearing.
Make sure that they move
it's a reverse grid. It's a reverse grid. I tell you what, the drama keeps on coming, folks. I tell you what, it never stops. Incredible. So what does this mean? We'll have to wait and see. The rumours were swirling for the start of this show, and I have heard, incidentally, we have got reverse grid scenes. I'm looking at my cameras here in the commentary box, folks. There's a lot of smiling faces, a few concerned faces as well, but drama already here in this session as we now hear that there is going to be a reverse grid situation.
I mean, to be fair, Dirk is the organizer. This might be the only way he starts in the top 10, so... Well, if you're watching this back, it's all just banter.
It is all banter. This is the Creator Series, folks. I tell you what, you don't get this anywhere else, I can assure you. I mean, Badgerman now, obviously, if you're Iron Sanger, you've just been punished for getting a pole position.
Yeah. That's about the worst that could have happened if you're Arian right now. Same for Sebastian Bobek in P2. I mean, you qualified P2, and now the only car that you start the race ahead of is the only guy who beat you. So you have to work through a field of 17 other drivers and hold that one really quick guy behind you as well. So I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. My goodness. What a plot twist. Never seen anything like this. Can you imagine if they did this in real F1? Oh yeah, everyone go qualify. And then the FIA announces after Q3 is over, oh, by the way, we're doing reverse grid.
Yeah, but with the Creator Series, we can get away with stuff like this.
Yeah, real F1 could not.
Yeah. Do you know what? I mean, this place would be complete if Michael Massey was part of it, I think. That would be the... That would be...
Dirk is our Michael Massey.
No, I love it. This is what it's all about, folks. But obviously now I want to hear from you. Who are you going to be backing for this race now? Because I tell you what, the storm drain has been blown wide open at this point. And I say the storm drain, it's a very apt sentiment because obviously we're going to be having a very wet race now very shortly. Couple that with the reverse grid. I'm sensing carnage, Badgerman, at the very start of this race.
I was a bit surprised when I looked at the forecast for the race in the session that we were just in, and I saw that there was no rain on there. I thought, well, we were promised rain. What has happened? And now it makes sense. Dirk never had to bother to set up the race weather because clearly, you know, the reverse grid, you know, that was the plot twist that he promised. So there was no need to set up the race weather. He gets to set up the race weather.
Are you sensing some Dirk chocolate shenanigans here at this point. I mean, I think...
No, he did promise us there was going to be something, some surprise. He just didn't say what it was.
Oh,
now
it's
we
a surprise.
know.
Oh, it's a surprise. It's a big surprise. Incredible, folks at home. Incredible. But, you know, I mean, I don't, you know, I tell you what, I'm on board. I think it's a great idea. Let's do it. I think, honestly, let's see if we can you know, pull up some trees with this one. But I tell you what, exciting times here for the Singapore Grand Prix. Obviously, everything's on the line. Dramatic, to say the least. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to offer a bit of a stir, you know, here in this situation. Obviously, the title's on the line. We've alluded to that. 3 drivers in the mix for it. I don't know. It answers on a postcard, folks. Who do you think is going to win this race?
The one thing that I'm thinking about right now, since Dirk obviously knew that was going to happen, why did he even bother qualifying?
Well, you know, it's called a curveball, Badgerman. It's called a curveball.
Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, if I was Dirk, I'd be shameless. I would have probably tried to qualify sort of P16, P17, be like, oh no, I got eliminated in Q1 again. Oh no, and then the curveball comes in. Starting P3, P4.
He basically Rick Astley'd the entire grid. You know, that's basically what he did. The entire grid just got Rickrolled. Pretty much. I mean, as the saying goes, big, massive Rickroll to the grid here tonight for Creator Series. I mean, were you rickrolled at home? Did you fall for it? I think you did. I'm looking forward to this one tonight. Obviously, Singapore is going to chew up certainly some dramatics. Just looking here in the live chat, Renaud saying that he reckons TMF Marduk's going to win this one. Hoodie Pete saying it could be anyone. Alfie White official. Feels good man Dirk right now. Absolutely. I could see Alfie White also saying, to be fair, we could see so many overtakes now. I think we will. There's going to be a lot of drama in this Singapore race. Ben for the win. He loves this circuit. Further back as well, we've got Dirk rolled, says Demegala. I think you're absolutely right. It is now called a Dirk roll, by the way. That's what we're calling it. Hoodie Pete as well with the Tohu Wolf. Very apt indeed, that emoji, have to be said. Avalanche Snow, £100 on the new guy. Incredible. Well, I mean, that's brilliant. Josh Sport United, love this series. Great to have you here, Josh. Pleasure to have you here, my man. Alfie White Official, may have had some inside info, but I had forgotten. Oh, well, you know, I tell you what, if you were on the inside, well done you. That's all I can say. Harry59, who's taking the championship. That's a blinking good question, that, Harry. Let us know in the live chat who you think's taking the title, folks. You've got a choice between Zafso Justwanali or TMF Marduk. 5 points in it between the 3 drivers. It's all to play for at this point. PT Sting saying, I'm for Ben too. I tell you what, a lot of support for Benjamin Daly here at this point. And a lot of them saying that they reckon he's going to take the title. Are their views misplaced, Badgerman?
I mean, it's tough to say. I mean, I like the confidence, but I understand why a lot of people are backing Ben. Obviously, he's the biggest content creator in this, but also he is known as a Singapore merchant, as a street circuit merchant. Monaco, Singapore, that's where he basically lives on the F1 game. Yeah. That's his best circuit. And so it makes sense to back him because this is where he has the best shot at winning. Then again, if we think back to where he actually won a race in the Creator Series, Silverstone's not quite a street circuit, is it?
No.
It's quite the opposite.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
If anything, it's a giant former airfield turned into a track with vast runoff areas. Well, they're mostly grass and gravel, but still. And so it's not quite a street circuit. Very fast circuit as well. And so I don't really know. He likes himself the street circuits, but is he as good on the street circuits as A, he claims to be, and B, as many people think he is, and C, as much as he likes them? So I don't know. The qualifying didn't look that great for him. P5 in the end, we disregard the penalty. I don't know if the penalties are going to be disregarded for the reverse grid. I kind of hope they do, because they were... I don't know how to put this in a PG way, but they weren't the fairest penalties. Let's call it that. Let's be very mild about this.
Let's be sensible. I mean, I'm looking at I'm looking at Ben Daly's best performances. First place at UK, as you say. Also second place at China. as you allude to, 2 vastly open circuits historically.
Yeah.
I mean, that is where Ben Daly
And high speed.
works his track. Yeah, absolutely right. Though he did take fastest lap at Azerbaijan, managing to scoop up that one at Baku, which is quite a result. Baku obviously being a street circuit, that may fall into his lap a little bit. Obviously, fastest lap is one thing. He did finish P8 in that race. You know, I mean, all you have to do is strap on a set of softs, and you've pretty much got the fastest lap at the end of the race anyway. Not sure whether that really constitutes to be some interesting form.
If I think back to Baku, what really got him there, he was in the fight for the win, if I remember the race correctly.
He made a mistake.
Strategy, exactly. Strategy is what did him in. So he definitely generally had the pace. It wasn't just a fact of strap on the softs at the end and get the fast lap. I think he definitely had the pace for it, just didn't have the strategy, and that put him down to P8. But yeah, Baku I would say is an atypical street circuit compared to Monaco and Singapore and some of the others as well. Monaco and Singapore are significantly slower, and cornering matters a lot more, and your straight line speed matters a bit less. It's so much more about precision, accuracy, and it's a lot less about flow, because on these circuits, Monaco and Singapore, there isn't really a flow that the drivers get into with the circuits. There's so many corners and they're so different that you can't really get into a flow. Whereas around Silverstone has a fantastic flow, for one, and it's like you start get into a good rhythm. Here, it's very, very tricky, and I don't know. I think he fancies himself a bit more because he likes these street circuits. And I think one thing that contributes to it as well is the fact that in career mode, the AI, which we know Ben is a bit of a career mode merchant, but in career mode, the AI tend to be quite weak around Singapore and Monaco compared to other circuits. Whereas in Silverstone, they're incredibly strong. And so that might warp the sensors a little bit. That might make Ben think that, at Singapore and Monaco, I'm really good, whereas it's just the AI that's a bit rubbish. And then on other circuits, he doesn't feel it, but once he races against other players who struggle maybe more than he does, all of a sudden it works out. So I'm not sure about Ben. I have a little less confidence than most people in the chat, but he's certainly not out of it, that's for sure. It's just going to come down to really the positions they put themselves in. I mean, you got to keep the car pointing the right way. He's good at that. Not hit the walls. I think he's good at that. And then it's going to come down to strategy and potential safety cars.
Yeah, well, there you go. And the question is, how many of those will we get? Obviously, given the fact that whether is the way it is, you know. And
the question is not if.
yeah. Well, exactly. I mean, it's more like how many. I mean, obviously, I think our record is 5. I think this season. I think we had in that one race. Yeah. So, you know, it could likely be 5 again. I think at this point, obviously, given the weather, it could be 6. You know, bear in mind we are running full race conditions here, so there's going to be lots to be concerned about. And you can imagine there's going to be a lot of dive bombs. I'm thinking turn 13. I'm thinking turn 1. I'm thinking Memorial Corner at turn 7. I'm also thinking various others. Singapore Sling at turn 10. So many corners here at this point that are a dramatic concern, I think, to many drivers at this point. Obviously, folks, pleasure to have you all here, first of all. I think you're going to be in for a real treat. Big hello to UK Sadler. Welcome, first-time chat. Everybody, I want you to hit that follow button if you haven't done so already. Please make sure you do. The Creator Series, obviously, on its final round here today of the first season. Obviously, a reduced season, but next season we're going to be kicking back again with, I tell you what, more action than ever before, folks. This series really has elevated off the ground. Your favourite creators here racing against each other, as well as many others here for the top prize in all of Creator Series racing. Indeed, it is no better than the Creator Series here on the F1 game. Please make sure you stay tuned in at F1 Creator Series as well on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok as well. So many clips, content for all of you guys to check out, etc. Not forgetting as well, you got content, well, right here with me and Badgerman. We're supplying it to you free of charge. Brilliant to see. So now watching, certainly awaiting for the grid to be decided. Obviously, reverse grid conditions here tonight at Singapore, folks. How unreal's that? I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, plenty of big names there on the table. could this tip the scale in the favour of one Ben Daly? Because I'm starting to wonder, given the way things are currently weighed up on track, obviously Zafso might have a chance. Give him a shot. I mean, I can't split them, to be honest, Badgerman. Who is taking the title, Zafso, Ali, or Tiamat Marduk? Who's doing it? I want to know.
I can't split
Badgerman,
them either.
come on! Tell me now.
I'm going by the reverse grid order, and then I'm just going to take the car that qualified the worst of the three.
That's your logic. That's the algorithm. The worst qualifier
Yeah, because
wins.
he's going to start the highest up. He's got the least cars to worry about. That's just what Ali. He qualified P8.
Yeah.
Let's, again, disregard the penalties that were dished out for whatever reason after the session was already over. And just when Ali qualified 8th, he will start, I would assume, P13. And, yeah. Or P12, I think that would be.
I mean, look at this.
Because we only had 19 participants.
Out of that top 3 that are in the fight for this title, just when Ali's the only one yet to win a race. Though he has secured...
It would be a fitting end.
It would be, if he does do it. And I'd be very impressed. But then you've got the other 2 who could be the very first double race winners in a single season. So there's a good story on either way of the spectrum, either end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Safso does it, incredible. You could arguably say he's been the more consistent, hence why he's top of the table. But then you look at Jusman Ali in terms of consistency, the most podiums out of those top 3 drivers.
Yeah.
If you look at it, 3rd at Azerbaijan. Okay, 4th at Silverstone, but he followed that up with 2 successive second places at Austria and Belgium. Not to mention then 3rd at China last week as well. Has only finished outside the top 3 twice. So what does that say to you? Does that automatically suggest that, he's back on the podium again?
I mean, you have to consider him for that at the very least, yeah. With that consistency and always being in the top 3, top 4, surely. And the one race where he wasn't in the top 4, by the way, remember that was Zandvoort, where he underfueled by 25 million laps. So I think I slightly underestimated. It might have been 20 million, my bad. But
slightly over dramatized.
No, not at all. But that was the only race where he didn't finish in the top 4. Every other race where he doesn't make like a crucial, massive mistake like that, and even there he was on the pace easily. And even if we disregard the underfueling, he would have still been on the pace for a potential win there as well. So I think he is the most consistent one. He's arguably one of the fastest ones. And I think just when Ali has... If I had to give it percentages, right, if I was a betting man, or if I was a bookie, let's say, and I was giving out odds. I'm not a bookie. Don't pay me money for any kind of bets. Don't do that. But if I was, I'd give just what Ali about 40, maybe 45%. I'd give Tiamat Marduk 30%, and I'd give Safsa 25%.
Well, there we go. I can tell you, folks, the rain is still coming down here at Singapore as well. So it's still tumbling down. We're just waiting now for the drivers to head out on the formation lap. So it's all still to play for. Lots on the line. We're not far away, guys. We're going to be starting very shortly. There's going to be a lot of interesting scenes on lap 1. Do you know what? I think if you're one of the top qualifiers, I think the big risk is turn 1, Badgerman. Because they've got all the cars queued up in front of them. You're going to have a few slow names up at the top end. We could see a safety car as soon as lap 1 at this rate. And are you getting those same vibes?
I'm definitely getting the same vibes for sure. Yeah, I'm getting There's likely going to be a safety car in the first couple of laps. Maybe not exactly lap 1, but I'd say in the first 3 or 4 laps of the race.
We'll have to double check to see if red flags are actually programmed into the game, because this might be
they're still not.
This might be a one chance to see one. I can tell you this now, folks, that certainly the cars are making their way out onto the track. Now, what I can tell you is this: Tom is on pole. Tom is on pole.
Yeah, he was P19. Yeah. That makes sense. And by the way, as you can see now, the penalties were sort of taken into account. Bushy has jumped both Safso and Tiamat Marduk, but they both got a one-place grid penalty, if you will. So Bushy jumped both of them, or dropped behind both of them, I should say. But other than that, they've stayed in the same spots.
Well, I mean...
So I think that might be a tiny mistake on the part of Dirk, that he accidentally put Bushy behind Tiamat Marduk and Safso. I don't think Bushy's going to mind too much, but certainly interesting. Let's call it that. And I hear that Just When Ali has actually underfueled again. And looking at it, yeah, 4.5 laps. Oh my.
That is sensational. I mean, honest to God, you think you would have learnt the first time, but there we go.
Well, to be fair, there is rain, so that reduces the fuel consumption.
That's true.
So 4.5 laps, you know, at the start in the dry would be tricky. 4.5 laps in intermediate conditions is not quite as crazy. I'd say he's still probably about 2 laps underfueled at this point. One safety car and he's back in it.
Yeah, well, there you have it, folks, and certainly the word spoken by Badgerman, and we're looking forward to seeing who now is going to come out on top. Plenty of cars now out on track, enlisting their first laps here in the cars. Obviously here on the formation lap, starting tyres, intermediates across the board. No surprise, really, at this point, as we now wait and see as to who is going to be on top heading out of turn 1. Tom on pole. And of course, we have got Shadow in second, who's obviously enlisted as out right now, so he will not partake on the formation lap. Ilke is in third, Liam in fourth, Adam in fifth, with Formula Racers in sixth. The 2 Red Bulls in the top 10, so obviously they knew exactly what they were doing when they were working their way through Q2. Maybe just Infratic just decided, well, you know what, we know it's going to be a reverse grid. We'll just move it to Q2. We won't worry about Q3. We'll take a break.
Yeah, clear. And there they go. They spin all on the grid. Gorgeous. We see that every time. It's
typical
always
scenes.
beautiful.
Typical scenes here at Creator Series, folks.
Yeah.
It's just one giant meme. That's exactly what we are.
Yeah.
But yes.
Look at all those professionals right there.
Incredible. But folks, thank you for joining us here. We're about to go racing once again here in the Creator Series. Make sure you check us out, hashtag F1, hashtag Creator Series. Make sure you check us out on socials at F1 Creator Series. As the lights are about to go red, here we go. First light, second light, third light, fourth light, and the fifth light. And it's pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 go. Tom getting a good start, as does Shadow on the front row. You can see that Ilke moving down the inside as well. Plenty more cars, 3 wide already into turn 1. We got Liam, Ilke coming together. In comes Dirk Chocolate as well outside line as they fight through the first sector. And race control already enlisting what looks to be a collision here at this point from the get-go. Incredible scenes here. Tom now leads the way, but it looks like already we're seeing incidents already heading through the first sector.
Yeah, a lot happening this early on, and everyone's tussling, fighting for position. So I'm not surprised as we have a 5-second penalty for Tiamat Marduk for a collision with Bushy Ants. And he's down to last as well. My goodness, that is not the start he was hoping for. But what a comeback story it would make if he ends up beating Safso. And just when Ali already up to P9. He is cutting through this field like a hot knife through butter right now. P9 already. Bobek is up to P10 already. Gained 8 places on the start. That is incredible. He might go for another. Oh, 3 wide. That's not going to work. Well, surely not. They made contact there. I don't know if any of them have damage. It doesn't look like just when Ali does. Let's see.
Oh, very late on the brakes though. Look at that. Almost taking out Adam for that 10th place and going through Bobek up into 8th spot as well on the opening lap. Carnage drama. You've seen it all here at Singapore, but certainly now Bobek managing to move himself back up into 8th place. Now remember, he was the man who went fastest in Q2. He's now usurped us when Ali went in tight on Adam, heading through the second sector. Incredible scenes on lap 1.
Yeah, I just checked the weather forecast as well. Ladies and gentlemen, you do not want to leave right now. You think the race just started, now it's time to go get a snack. Not yet. We're gonna be in for something in the next 10 to 15 minutes, so stay tuned as Tom has already pulled a 3.5 second gap. This is incredible pace from the Alpine ambassador, who is now an Alpine ambassador together with a certain Zinedine Zidane, by the way. You can now mention Tom in the same breath as the legendary French footballer Zinedine Zidane, and manager now as well, Zinedine Zidane. So huge honor there for him, I would think.
Yeah, obviously making
3.67 seconds now. It's incredible from Tom.
Yeah, he made an appearance at the Alpine livery release, obviously the car release that came out. Ilke dropping down through the field, which is absolutely sensational. Obviously struggling at this point, but dropping through the field no less. Curbs as well, making moves too, side by side, but unable to pull off the move here. Dirk Chocolate also trying to jackknife his way through the field. Now fourth fastest, moving ahead of Formula Racers.
Bobek in the wall!
Bobek in the
wall. He
wall.
worked his way through the field so well, and then he just spun on traction. Oh no, it's all gone downhill for Sebastian Bobek. Down to 19th he goes. Unbelievable there. I can't believe what I'm seeing. That was so unfortunate for him. Just a little bit overzealous on the throttle, and that puts him in the wall. Meanwhile, look at Tom, 6 seconds now the gap. What is happening? He has incredible pace. Did he have inside information on the reverse grid? That's why he didn't qualify well.
You have to wonder whether that is the case. We've got a battle happening further up as well. Just when Ali getting closer as well, the curbs, and fighting over that P6 place. We've seen Just when Ali, of course, on the start, getting himself really just moving up the field in a plum as well. We got more drama further down. Ilke having problems as well. So now seeing Meriki also looking to move his way up as he now goes side by side now with Infratic in towards turn one. Clean move, clean as a whistle. And the Williams now up into 10th place. So we'd be delighted with that. Dirk Chocolate, as I said before, fourth fastest, moving ahead of Formula Racers. Just when Ali now into 6th. Curbs in 7th in behind him with further back. You've got the AlphaTauri there with Adam in 9th as well. Meriki obviously moving up to 10th ahead of Infratic. We just saw that on our screens just now, folks. Obviously plenty of cars trying to work their way through this track. Very solid, very wet indeed, and Curbs now already looking to try and bust a move, try and get further up the grid, and you're already now coming into blows from the AlphaTauri as they now work their way in through the next left, and now still side by side as they venture in this wet circuit. Now the AlphaTauri can't be stopped and is certainly going to enjoy that race in
just
place.
Van Ali running wide. Oh my goodness, just Van Ali trying to put a move on Formula Racers here, going into 5th. And he was successful, but into the Singapore Sling, he overshot it a little bit and almost ended up in the wall. It was a very close call indeed, but he also managed to keep the position, which is quite incredible considering the situation there. It was a very, very close call indeed.
Very close, and Ian Sanger managing to get himself ahead, well, did get himself ahead of Curbs. Now he's starting to pull away from the Williams. Big moment there from Just When Ali, but he's still in the race. And still closing down on Dirk Chocolate as well, who's in turn trying to close up on Liam for that top 4. At this point, it could be the case that Dirk Chocolate could get his podium, but Just When Ali starting to pepper the rear of the Red Bull as they make their way through the final sector. Big chance here to usurp that of Dirk Chocolate now as Tom enlists the fastest lap of the race, Clean Air, and has already marched out 11.5 seconds. Obviously Shadow, the current cork in the bottle in terms of pace right now. Just When Ali getting a little squirrely on the exit, heading through towards turn 1. There we can see now Ian Sanger coming together, now moves up into 6th place ahead of Formula Racers, with Meriki also making the big moves ahead of Adam as well. Here comes now Just When Ali, moves up to 4th too, usurps out of Dirk Chocolate in the first sector. Lap 4 of 61, Just When Ali looking like the favourite to take the title. He's in 4th place.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about earlier. That's why I gave him the 45% chance to win this here today. And he proves me right. He's moving through this field at incredible pace, incredible rate, and up to P4 already. He started P12. Safso started P15. He's still stuck in P12 right now, where Just When Ali originally started. And Temet Malik has actually lost 2 places. Started in 14th, now down to 16th after that early incident with Bush Jans, and a 5-second penalty for Benjamin Daly as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We're now watching the cars peel their way through on lap 4 of 61.
Oh, Ali! He had a massive squirm coming into turn 13 there, over the bridge, and he did well to not end up in the wall there. The car was just sliding all over the place, no grip whatsoever, and I'm amazed that he held on to that. But if he keeps driving like that, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't see the checkered flag.
Well, you've got more and more cars queuing up now for certainly places at this point. Obviously, Ian Sanger now back up into 5th after overtaking Dirk Chocolate, and he's got some relentless pace here at this point. Started 19th and now up to 5th. He's had a monstrous start here in lap 4 of 61 as they peel their way through the final sector. It's still Tom out in front, 14 seconds the advantage. Liam also holding back the tirade. Obviously, Justin Ali just in behind with Ian Sanger, then in behind those with Dirk Chocolate, who's now starting to take himself away from this pack that's fighting further down, as we now see more cars come together. Americi now moving ahead of Formula Races with Zafso also trying to get ahead of Adam for that 10th place and has made the move. So a great move from Zafso. He's now in the top 10. There's movements being made all across this circuit right now. Justin Ali, though, looking like the main danger as he closes up on Liam for that 3rd place.
Yeah, meanwhile, we have a weather update. The rain has stopped. The rain has
Liam
entirely stopped.
Huge moment.
Yeah.
Liam now making his way through past Shadow. It was a very dangerous move. It was bold. It was superb, but a very tight round now as Juswan Ali tries to move up to 3rd. Inside line. He's done it. He's done it. He's made the move. The big move now. Podium place now for Juswan Ali. That could make yet another podium finish. What will be, of course, his 5th of the season should it stay like this.
Yeah, and he's hungry for more. He might go for another overtake here, potentially on Liam if he can set up the exit right. Seems like he's got the pace on Liam. He's tucked right under that rear wing, and he's using all the 5% of battery charge that he has left. Goes for the lunge, not quite there. Bit risky there, and Arian is also through. He's right behind, so Carbon Shadow got dispatched by 3 other cars. Larsen has been in the pits. He's on mediums now. First car to switch on to dry tires already. Not sure it's just time, but it might be this lap or the next. Let's see what Tom does. No, Tom stays out. Anyone else potentially coming in? It might be time. It might. Look at the lap times. 53.4. They're improving so much. But
they're all coming in.
Comes in.
They're all coming in. They're all coming in. They're queuing up
but
now.
Liam stayed out. Liam stayed out, but a lot of drivers are going to come in now. And I would tell you what, if Kemet Marder comes in, that might save him. And he stayed out. Oh, no. He had the opportunity to come in. DRS now enabled, and Kemet Marder missed the window. This isn't an overcut. This is going too long on a tire that's not suitable. And Kemet Marder P5 now, but he will lose a lot of positions once everyone peels back out of the pits.
Well, what this does mean, Justin Ali, incidentally, obviously being one of the first to box, he now leaves the pit lane, but he has got Ian Sanger right in behind. Now, this weather was due to dry up regardless towards the end of this race anyway, so this is the way it's going to be for the foreseeable. No expectations of rain in accordance to the weather graphic.
That's not true. On my screen, that's not true. We're going to have about 45 minutes, roughly, and then it's going to chuck it down. The rain that we saw at the start of the race, kiddies play compared to what we're going to get.
Goodness me. Well, I can tell you that the weather at race control, obviously looking here on the forecast, light cloud at this point, with more light cloud to follow. Yeah. Clear in 15 minutes with overcast in 30 minutes time, and then clear in 60 minutes. Incredible.
Yeah, but for me, what it shows in 60 minutes is light rain, but what it shows in 45 minutes on my screen is a thunderbolt.
Wow.
I can't describe it anywhere else. A thunderbolt.
A thunderbolt.
Yeah, up to 92% the track condition, which means effectively that's full wet tires at that point.
Goodness me.
Inters wouldn't survive in that.
Well, brace yourselves, folks. We're going to be in for a hellacious ride. It's going to be good. Plenty of cars now coming in. Tom now fitting a new front wing. Danger for Tom. He looks like he might lose his lead as we're now seeing more and more cars come around. Now, where is Just One Ali? He's just about to head through the final two corners. Obviously, Tom just leaving the pit lane, as now we're seeing the Haas now burst down this next straight. Now, where does the Haas come? Where does the Alpine come through? There goes the Haas of Just One Ali. Is he going to lead this race? Heading through, he will.
Whoa.
Just One Ali has taken the lead at Singapore. The question is, though, where is Tom going to figure out third here in this classification? No, fourth at this point, because Shadow remains on track.
Yeah, net third for Tom right now, net P1 for Just One Ali, because Carbon Shadow yet to pit off his intermediate tyres and onto a set of drives. Most drivers actually went for mediums. Mr. Dale in P10, the only car to go for soft tyres, hoping for a safety car rather soon, as the field has actually split up quite a bit already. If we compare, let's take Carbon Shadow out of the equation. We have a gap between P1 and P2 and P2 and P17 of over 20 seconds.
Big moment, Mr. Dale going round there. Certainly earlier on, we just see him dropping down the field. He's been overtaken left, right, and centre. He spun out of the chicane. Got very, very well out of the hairpin, should I say, not the chicane, as they made their way through towards turn 13. Big moment here in this race. Mr. Dale, he was gaining places, he didn't quite pin it, but I tell you what, very risky moment. The back end of the car just losing grip altogether, and despite being on the soft tyres against those on the mediums, the grip just simply wasn't there, and unfortunately he now remains 16th place.
Yeah, just ahead of Clement Marduk, who's trying to battle back. Remember, Ben also had a 5-second penalty to serve from a collision earlier with Bushy Ants, so he definitely lost some time from that. Don't know if he also switched his front wing. It doesn't tell me. Oh no, he did. He had a front wing change and a 5-second penalty, so that certainly cost him quite a bit more than normal, and so that's why he's dropped down to P17 a little bit further. Carbon Shadow finally pitting, finally coming in for dry tyres. It's going to be mediums, just like pretty much everyone else, except for Mr. Dale in P15 right now.
Yeah, no team, well, could be team orders there between the Ferraris. Formula Races letting his teammate go through into 10th place. Adam now up into the top 10. Further back then we have Larsen, who now bursts past, or literally bursts alongside there. The Ferrari of Formula Races now takes position there into 11th place. Formula Racing struggling, I think, with the pace on track right now. Obviously, it's very easy to do, certainly given the fact that if you're not a regular F1 player against those that are certainly on it all the time, obviously that does add a considerable pace advantage if you're certainly familiar with tracks like Singapore, which certainly rely on track knowledge more than anything else. So easy to bin it here around this circuit. Hardly any runoff. Certainly in many areas. We're now seeing the Alfa Romeo of Scars now move up on Formula Races. This grid obviously getting very claustrophobic in certain areas, as now we're seeing the faster drivers move their way up through the field. Scars now up into 12th place, and surely now we'll see Curbs do exactly the same thing as we make our way through Sector 3. But Just When Ali leads now, or does he? Because Ian Sanger now leading here in the Singapore Grand Prix on lap 8 of 61. A crucial move in the final sector. The AlphaTauri now spearheading the way on lap 8 of 61.
Yeah, I tell you what, might be a little bit tactical there from Just One Ali to let Aryan Sanga through and just chill behind him, save a bit of fuel, because he's still 4.3 laps under fueled, and save a bit of ERS as well, and use the DRS to his advantage just to stay with him. Or is he going to go for a move here? I hope not. For tactical reasons, it wouldn't be smart to do that. And yeah, he uses no battery to try to get past. He's just chilling really behind Aryan Sanga here, and lets him pull this two-man group. And I do stand corrected about Benjamin Daly. He did not actually have a front wing change, just that 5-second penalty to serve. Quick misread of the data here, unfortunately, from me. My apologies. So he did serve the 5 seconds, so he's clear of any penalties now, and he has passed Carbon Shadow in P16 at this point. And if I compare the last laps, he's not gaining on all too many people. He's gaining on Mr. Dale. Oh, sorry, he's gaining on Formula Racers, my bad. He's gaining on Formula Racers by about 3 seconds a lap. Other than that, he's pretty much in line with the pace of the rest of the field.
Safso now also trying to gain on Meraki. Now this is a fight that we do want to see, because obviously both of these drivers share very, very strong pace indeed. Sasso being part of the championship fight between 3 drivers. Obviously Meraki not in this one, but obviously a race winner as well at Spa-Francorchamps, obviously succeeding very well in great fashion, to say the least. Obviously Spa was a great race weekend for him, coming off the back of a trip to the Williams Esports Lounge. Now back again here at Singapore, currently sitting in the top 5. 5th place to be in fact, he was 5th before at the Netherlands, and has mostly finished in the top 6 when he's raced. Obviously 12th place at Silverstone being the one outlier, and obviously not racing then at Austria, but returning here once again, looking to challenge up at the top end still. Liam is right ahead of him here, and you'd fancy him to have a good go at the other Mercedes here, with Sasso just trying to line up a move himself. Obviously he could think of no better time to do it, because bear in mind, wants to finish at least somewhere close to Just Finale, try and reduce the points deficit, because Sasso, as long as he can get himself into the proximity of Just Finale, he can still win the title here tonight.
Yeah, certainly. It's all going to come down to the points. If none of the drivers, none of the championship 3 actually end up winning the race, it's all going to come down to how close are they, you know, how many points here and there, because the gap between all 3 is only 5. The gap between Sasso and Just Finale are 2 highest running championship contenders right now, is only 2 points. 80 points for Sasso, 78 for Just Finale. So if Sasso gets close enough with the fastest lap, because Sasso has won a race, he would win on countback. Unless Just Finale wins this race, at which point there wouldn't be a tie anyway. But yeah, that would be the situation. So Sasso just needs to be right behind Just Finale, and with the fastest lap preferably as well, and then it would be a done deal for the Mercedes driver. Otherwise, Just Finale right now looking like he's gonna wrap up this title here at the season finale. But as mentioned in the chat, it's entirely correct, Just Finale on minus 4.4 laps of fuel. He was hoping for a bit more safety car action here so far in the first 11 laps, and it surprises me as much as anyone, he hasn't gotten that. We have had no safety cars yet, and yeah, we're still going.
Yeah, well, here comes now Tim Marduk for a move this time on curves, heading in towards turn 1. They run side by side, but certainly the better, stronger driver here on this occasion. Tim Marduk now up into 14th place, obviously opting earlier on for that additional lap on the instant, coming in off the intermediate tyres. He'll now be trying to fight back the deficit that was lost. Not forgetting, though, a few drivers probably would have wanted to double stack, as now Sasso down the inside of Meraki, and that's for 5th place as well. Meraki forced to forfeit that 5th place, and now Sasso, who's on the charge for the championship, currently sits now in 5th behind his teammate Liam, and certainly the Mercedes, without a shadow of a doubt, surely, is he going to do the team orders? You would have thought so at this point.
Surely, for the championship, you have to do it, but at the end of the day, in a way, it's every driver for himself, and you got to remember that for Mercedes, they don't really have to worry about any championship, Constructors' Championship standings, because they are very much clear by a whopping 32 points clear of Aston Martin, 33 clear of McLaren, and 37 clear of Alfa Romeo, so they don't have to worry anything in that regard. So yeah, it makes it a bit easier to make that decision, because you don't have to contend with as good a result as possible in the Constructors. But at the same time, for the drivers, yeah, I think you do want to let Sasso through. Question is whether Liam and Sasso are communicating with each other. And by the looks of it, they are. They're both in the creator voice chat together. Neither of them is muted right now, so they might just talk and be clear about it. But for it to happen, Sasso has to get a little bit closer. 9/10 of a second, not enough for Liam to just pull over and let him go. I think once he's within half a second, they're going to pull the trigger on this one.
Yeah, well, he currently sits at 1.2, though that gap is starting to come down. It's now 6/10 to near 7/10. He's going to keep trying to work away at the deficit, bring himself closer and closer to Liam, and then he'll ask Liam, no doubt, to try and defend against the approach from Meraki there, who currently sits in 6th place. He's got a 5-second penalty for Mr. Dale. So that's not going to go his way. Well, certainly he's not going to appreciate that. It's currently showing 3 seconds on our timing screeners. Now we're seeing Sebastian Bobeck Not sure whether he had a moment or something. Dirk Chocolate further on behind him. I think Dirk might have had an issue, in fact, because there was an immediate swap on the timing screen. And it looks like Dirk has lost 3.5 seconds, nearly 5 seconds away from Bobek. So whether he's had an issue there, I'm not quite sure. But Formula Race is already gaining on him. I think Dirk must have had a moment.
Yeah, Dirk certainly had a moment. I couldn't see what it was. He does have a little tiny bit of front wing damage on the left side, but it's 8%. It's not even the end plate is gone. It's less than that. It's, I think, part of the end plate is gone, but it's such a tiny amount of damage that he probably won't even notice it all too much. It won't hurt him too much, but yeah, something must have happened there with Dirk, and he definitely lost a couple of places and down to 15th. Because that moves up Tiamat Marduk to P12 now. He's really working his way through the field here. Since we last checked, which I think was about 3 laps ago, he's lost about 3 seconds to Arian in the lead. But that's not an issue. That's actually pretty good because Arian is quite quick right now. He's actually dropped Juswanale by almost 2 seconds at this point. Formula Racers retires in the pit lane. This should not cause a safety car.
Oh, goodness me. Big moment there, Adam. I think having a huge moment there. The Ferrari certainly losing it altogether. We're just literally looking to it on screen. And Formula Races, I'm just seeing now, leaving the session. I don't think this was anything to do with him, though. But we saw a gigantic move being made further back. That was obviously involving, I believe it was a Haas in the mix of all that too. I'm not quite sure what happened, but Scars, I think, was one of them. And very nearly bowing out, but 2 cars running wide. I think the Aston Martin was one of them too.
A Mercedes swap has happened. Meanwhile, Safzo just went past Liam and is now trying to hunt down Tom. So Liam trying to battle against Meraki, holding him back as much as he can. We have another yellow flag, and that is Scars now, who is around on the exit of turn 14, losing 2 places to Phoenix and to Tiamat Marduk, who gains another one. He is working slowly but surely. He's making his way up the ranks. Not quite in the points yet, but I think it's only a matter of time. And remember, we are less than 25% into this race. There's a lot more racing still left to do. And we might actually hit the 2-hour mark. If we do get close to that, I will give updates on that. We might not have the full 61 laps, although at this point, with no safety cars so far, again, very surprising that, we might actually end up finishing a lot quicker than expected. Yeah. But we've got rain coming in about 20 to 25 minutes. And not just rain, my telemetry screen right now says clear, that's the current weather, and then dash storm in 21 minutes.
Well, I can tell you this now, Larsen has spun as well. He's got damage to his front wing, and that's cost him place. Tiamat Marduk now has gained yet another place. He's up into 10th and is now in the, well, he's now in the top 10 points on the table here for Tiamat Marduk. We're getting the vibes now that given the fact that we're seeing more incidents happening in the dry than we're seeing in the wet, what's this going to mean when the torrential weather starts? Larsen all over the place. The car now, since the wing damage has come into play, has literally bent his car totally out of shape, and now really fighting it heading through that latter sector. He really needs the grip. Oh, very nearly losing it altogether, and surely he's going to lose yet another place because he's got Bushy Ants right on his tail, who immediately cuts to the inside, takes the place, and Larsen now is in real jeopardy of losing so many places.
Oh,
safety car! Goodness me, safety car deployed.
Yeah, and that will bring everyone together quite nicely. If I'm there, oh, Arian is able to just get past the safety car. Does he have to let the safety car back through? No, he actually has made it past the safety car. So there is one extra lap where everyone can decide what they want to do. That being said, if I was driving, I would not pit at this point because the medium tire is still absolutely fine for everyone. And you wouldn't really, you know, you don't really need to pit at this point, so I wouldn't go for that. Most drivers have less than 20% wear in their medium tires. A lot of drivers do still opt to pit. And again, everyone who hasn't pitted missed it, they're getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane there. Everyone who hasn't pitted can still choose for one more lap, whether they want to, because Arian made it past the safety car, and therefore everyone has to get around at Delta speed for one lap, and then they get to decide. So we'll see what they're gonna do. A bunch of drivers have already decided. I would stay out personally, but we'll see what they do.
Well, I can tell you one man who did not box, and that was Timo Marduk. He's now up into 8th place, started 14th, a very steady conservative drive here from Ben Daly, and is currently ahead of Scars, and no doubt will join the rest of the field for the restart. Mercedes looking pretty primed as well. Zafso sitting in 4th with Liam in 5th, but credit to Ian Sanger, 4 seconds ahead of Just One Ali at this point, but of course that will all be brought back together, but we do have a couple of successive laps to take before we even consider that being a factor, and then eventually that timer will come to 0, and Sanger will be spearheading the front of the grid order when we hit.
Just One Ali pitting! Just One Ali pitting! Oh, I don't know if that's the right call. He's going to lose a bunch of places. He's going to drop down at least, I think, to P7. Meraki coming in as well. That's one position gained then. Infratic staying out. Now what's Timo Marduk going to do? I think Just One Ali will stay ahead of Timo Marduk, but I still think it's the wrong choice. Now Safso, the net leader of the championship, because of that. Timo Marduk staying out. Smart choice, I think. Is he going to jump Just One Ali on pit exit? It's going to be really close. He's got him.
Yeah, he's got him. He's
Timo
clear.
Marduk ahead of Just One Ali. And that is the problem right there. Scars as well ahead of him. Oh my. Did Just One Ali, let me see. Did Just One Ali pit for
a front wing as well?
Wing?
Yeah, new front wing as well. So he must have sustained damage.
Yeah.
He did have a lot of time deficit between him and Ian Sanger. So whether that was a factor in the reason why he lost a lot of time, it's a possibility. What he'll hope for is that helped him in terms of the fuel. But we'll have to wait and see. But naturally not being able to push to the optimal levels that he would have liked. Naturally now, though, opting for the soft tyre. So maybe he's hoping for the weather to come down sooner than perhaps some of the others. I know that a few others have boxed onto the softs as well, including that of Meraki. He also pitted on the softs the same lap as Just One Ali, including that of the Ferrari and the Aston Martin further down. Mr. Dale also opting for softs. So you do have to wonder whether they're just sort of cleverly waiting for the weather to become a factor here, Badgerman.
Yeah, I think it's the right choice to go for softs with the weather looming in about 15, 16 minutes already. I think there's no point in going for music. And it's going to be a very quick crossover as well. So the drivers are going to have to make sure they get it right and they don't mess up the crossover and go either too early or too late. Too early might not be that much of an issue. But too late certainly will be, because once they miss the pit lane, go around for another lap. Next lap around, I think the weather or the water on track is going to be at around 60%, and at that point you really don't want to be on dry tyres.
No, Ian Sanger leads the way, started 19th on the grid, with Tom in behind him as well. Zafso 3rd, Liam there as well. Infratic also up into the top 6 as well, top 5 now. Obviously now 5th place. Timo Marduk just giving him that position back. Sanger now working his way through this next left and will follow the safety car for its standard procedure before we then get back underway. Meraki, who will be chasing after Just One Ali. One will have to wonder how they're going to fare, certainly on those fresh soft tyres. Will they make the early overtakes required? Obviously there would be an advantage there to both those drivers if they can get their cars further up. Obviously make use of the pace. I'd imagine they'll probably use and abuse the ERS a little bit as well here, Badgerman. Obviously no point in, I suppose, being conservative in this portion of the race, especially with rain around the corner. It might be that they do sort of take the softs to the limit as they head through this next stint.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's certainly what I would do. I would really almost abuse the tyres, because you won't need them for long. You just need them for, maybe 10 laps maximum. And soft tyres around here on a 100% race last up to 18 laps, although they're not going to be in great condition at the end of those 18 laps, that's for sure. But, you can easily use them for a good 8 to 10 laps. So there's no point really in just trying to conserve them, because you don't need to stretch them out that long. And then the ERS, you're absolutely right as well. I would just burn as much battery, especially if you're in a position like Sapso, Tiamat Marduk, and just Manali. You have cars in front of you that you really want to get past. For Sapso, that would be Tom. For Tiamat Marduk, that would be Infratic and Liam, and potentially Tom. And for just Manali, that would be the 3 cars mentioned before and Scars to get to your 2 championship rivals. And you gotta get past them. You gotta get past them quickly. Safety car in this lap. We got the notification. Dirk getting touched by its Ilkay and getting a 5-second penalty for it as well. I don't know if that was entirely Dirk's fault, but because Dirk is the car in front, so you can't really do it. Generally, with safety car crashes, it's going to be the car behind who's at fault most of the time. And Arian going to be restarting when he chooses.
Yeah, he's going to be the leader. He's going to set the pace for the getaway. The safety car has already peeled off. It's all on Iron Sanger as they head up now towards the final 2 corners. He's been furiously trying to warm them up as they ran the final corner now. They'll put pedal to the metal for the 2nd time in this Grand Prix. Sasso getting a better launch than Tom here. Immediately looks down to the inside, but no move can be made further back. Scars also being challenged or challenging Tiamat Marduk, but enters the fray now. Just when Ali on those fresh soft tyres now as they head out now of the 1st sector through towards sector 2. Inside line now for Just When Ali. Boom, he's already taken one. 7th place for Just When Ali, making those soft tyres work. Now Meraki has got to do the same.
Yeah, and Safsa was on much warmer tyres than the 2 cars in front of him, but he couldn't use it to his advantage. He could not make the move happen. Very unfortunate. Just When Ali, meanwhile, this one's for the championship potentially. Major implications here. Tiamat Marduk and Just When Ali battling, and Just When Ali gets the run round the outside and goes up into P6. Strong move there from the house driver.
Yeah, he needed it as well. Obviously needs to try and get those soft tyres to work, needs to try and gain the places so that when the weather comes down, that Haas is in a peripheral place for him to attack. Next on his list is Infratic, trying to move now for 5th place in this classification, side by side now as the Red Bull squeezes him to the outside. Incredible though, as they now wrestle through the middle sector. Final sector's next here on lap 18 of 61. Incredible scenes, what a move! Ali round, Ali very nearly round. Tiamat Marduk, incredible, moves his way back into P6. A very limp and lackluster move heading into that chicane. I don't think he'll thank himself for that, Benjamin.
Yeah, I think after the first defense from Infratic, Just When Ali was probably already cursing out Infratic a little bit. And now after the second one, that contact, that crash, I think those 2 are not going to be friends anymore. And yeah, Just When Ali not going to be happy with that. Even sustained a tiny amount of front wing damage, 6% on the left side of the front wing. But again, he won't notice that all too much. It's not that big of a deal. It's only 6%. Might not even be worth it to change the front wing on the next pit stop, to be honest.
Well, we'll have to wait and see already now. Just When Ali using the battery, using the tyres. Green flag now conditions. Now we're seeing Tiamat Marduk going defensive. Because remember, Tiamat Marduk's in this fight as well. What's the news, Benjamin?
Larsen is around.
Safety
crashed,
car.
and we have another safety car. Yeah. That was for Larsen, who crashed on the exit of turn 5 onto the Raffles Boulevard, spun to the right and into the wall, and that is a race over for Larsen, and we get another safety car. That was incredibly hectic.
Mr. Dale, Mr. Dale's out as well. We lost Mr. Dale. That's a big story. Obviously, not only that, we've seen a front wing go for Infratic. He binned it, heading out to the 1st sector, into the 2nd sector, and totally lost it. Obviously, the safety car not helping him at all, obviously, on this occasion, because all the cars are just going to stay out at this point. What's the point in coming in? And the safety car procedure when the intermediates or even wet tyres are going to be utilised on the next stint.
I wonder who's going to gamble for it. I wonder who's going to go on to intermediates or potentially full wet straight away right now to hope that the safety car takes long enough for the rain to arrive. Remember, it is going to be a very quick crossover. So that gamble might pay off, and Tom, oh no, he faked going in. Safso might be taking that gamble.
I think he is. He's boxing now. So let's wait and see what tyres he opts to pick. The intermediate tyres are coming out, folks. This is it. The weather changeover. Already Safso opting for that change. Now, what about the others? What are they going to pick? Because there has been talk of wets as well. But in the immediate, we're seeing the intermediates being donned by many of the cars. Look at this too. We've got Meraki coming in. Intermediate tyres on his car as well. It seems to me the popular choice are the intermediate tyres. Sebastian Bobeck as well opting for the same. Infratic coming in for that wing change as well. Lots of them now opting to choose the intermediate tyres. A dramatic decision at this point, though. I tell you what, twists and turns here at Singapore.
Yeah, certainly. Meanwhile, Infratic chose the softs. Same for Adam and Dirk going on Inters as well. So very interesting choice there for Infratic. Yeah, this is the question, F1 Kid. Is this going to be a 1000 IQ strat? It might very well end up being one. It depends on how quickly all the cars catch up to the safety car. Dirk is a minute down almost on the safety car right now. He is a minute down on Arian. And so we might very well see at least this lap and then one more lap behind the safety car, at which point the rain is supposed to come in about 7 minutes time. And again, very quick crossover, so you won't have much time. I think this is a good shout to go on to Inters already. But yeah, we'll see how it pans out. I think Safso has done the right thing. The question is Inters or wets? I think actually the wets might not be the right tire if anyone goes for it, simply because we won't have full wet conditions long enough. It said storm, but based on the forecast that I see here, the rolling forecast that I see here, it's really only going to be really heavy rain for about 5 minutes maximum. So at which point you wouldn't pit again for Inter, so you wouldn't do it twice. So Inter's might actually be the better tire here. Question is, anyone else going to come in?
Well, that is the big question. I mean, you're probably only thinking when,
yes,
when that heavy rain spell does become a factor. I mean, you're talking 25, perhaps 30 minutes time. So the intermediates have got to be used at this point, Badgerman.
Yeah, certainly. The rain is going to stay for at least 25 minutes. So you couldn't just go from wets straight back to dries. So the intermediates definitely to be used. But this is an interesting rain period. I mean, I've rarely ever seen something like that. The crossover is going to be in 5 minutes at this point. And from there, it's going to go really quickly up to 85% and more. Then it's going to go down again. Then it's going to go up again a little bit. But possibly not enough for full wets, just right on the cusp. And then it's going to go down again slowly. So, really confused. The weather doesn't know what it wants to do, really. And that will throw a spanner into the works of so many drivers. Honestly, if you're watching this back, if you're one of the drivers in this race, you're watching it back, you're thinking, I made such a mess of the strategy. Honestly, if I was an engineer for any of you right now, I wouldn't know what I was going to do.
No.
This is so crazy.
It's a giant question mark at this point.
Yeah.
No one knows where the weather is going to fall. The wet weather is certainly coming. The question is, how heavy will it be? Not only that, when is the precise moment where the rain will come down? Nobody knows. People have opted for the intermediate the intermediate tyres. And certainly when it comes to this championship fight, every big decision is absolutely vital. You've got Zafso, Juswin Ali, and Tiamat Marduk in the mix in this championship fight. 5 points is all that separates first to third. And Tiamat Marduk, being the man in third place, currently sitting on 75 points against 80 points for Zafso. Mere fragments, ladies and gentlemen. You tell you what, you could not have come to the Creator Series at a better time. Aryan Sanga currently leads. He's going to take the safety car restart. Tom in second, not having a bad race.
Not yet. We're going to have one more lap under the safety car.
No, I didn't say it was coming in. I'm just saying he's behind the safety car. And Liam in third. Tiamat Marduk in fourth as well. Juswin Ali on the softs. Still remains on the softs. Obviously, no need to pit at this point, given the fact that the rain will be coming down very, very soon. Scars in sixth as well. Bushy Ants on the medium. Shadow in eighth. Zafso, though, intermediates then in behind. The question is, though, are they going to get eaten alive on the initial stint? They're going to be praying the safety car stays out for as long as possible at this point.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you what, Dirk Chocolate just pitted again last lap for softs. He went off the intermediates and onto soft tyres. I'm not sure that was the right call. I think he should have stayed out. Adam's now coming in for what should be intermediates. Let's see. It is intermediates. Is Dirk coming in again? Dirk wants to do as many pit stops as possible, I think. But I'm looking on board. There's no rain coming down yet, but it should be within the next, I'm not kidding, minute.
He's opted for mediums. I mean, he's on a different...
What?
Incredible scenes here. He
I
is
need to talk to him after this race.
He's just pitted for medium tyres. I mean, I'm not sure what the decision is behind that. There is no wing change. He's just come in, pitted for new tyres, and come straight back out again. Incredible, folks at home.
Oh, Dirk, what are you doing? We need to have a talk after this race. Unbelievable. But no raindrops yet to see on the cameras, on the onboard cameras. But it's not far out based on the forecast.
This is an interesting point. Shrevel saying Dirk sandbagging to maximise the safety car time.
Possibly, yes, because the safety car's waiting for all the cars to catch up. Dirk hasn't caught up yet. But why would he do that and not go on to Inters then? Well, he's not helping himself. Safety car in this lap now, regardless. Now the race control have figured out his ploy really here, and they decide, nope, not gonna care anymore. We're gonna restart this no matter what you do.
Well, he fooled them.
Still no rain.
He fooled them all at Silverstone, didn't he? Let's not forget. But this time he's not going to fool them
There's
twice.
the rain.
And we've got the rain
coming down.
The rain has come down as well, folks. We're seeing the droplets starting to fall, and it's all on Iron Sanger, who's going to get the race back underway. Now, the question is, do they immediately come into the pit lane? We'll have to wait and see. They're going to have to. Surely they've got no choice, but now peeling through the final sector. Of course, Dirk not even helping his teammate because he's on soft tyres in Pratic. In comes the safety car. Now, keeping my eyes peeled on Iron Sanger as the droplets fly, and it's pedal to the metal for the third time in this Grand Prix. And Iron Sanger now already being challenged by Tom at the very start of this race. Coming down now in towards turn one. The AlphaTauri and the Alpine side by side now. Tim and Mardik also in the mix. Just when Ali looking to also make moves. Chaos here at the very start here of this restart. After a third safety car, a third restart, a second safety car, as Tom now leads the way. Iron Sanger now in second. Just when Ali in third as well on the soft tyres. Trying to gain here on Iron Sanger, who holds on the second and moved down the inside for Just when Ali as he looks to take the short way round past the AlphaTauri.
Yeah, meanwhile, Safso getting a move on the Inters against Carbon Shadow on old medium tyres. So he's working his way up the field already, but he's not that quick on the Inters just yet. They still need a tiny bit more, but we should get the message of DRS disabled rather shortly. It shouldn't be that far away, and I think it's going to be within the next couple of seconds, honestly. We should be able to, or we should be getting that message. And Safso is closing in now on Bushy Ants and Scars, and everyone's going to have to pit. And Safso, I'm going to be quite bold here. Safso is going to be a net leader. His tires are not overheating right now, and he's going for the move on Bushy. Oh,
his pace is good. There. Nothing wrong with his pace. It's looking sharp. The spray now kicking up, and up goes Safso ahead of Bushy Ants into that P6, and he's now trying to charge here on Scars. He's managed to put a car between himself and Meraki, as now all the cars on the intermediate tyres start chewing up everybody. A yellow flag. It's Iron Sanger. He's round here in Sector 3.
Oh no! Oh, there's another car round. That is a Haas. That is
Just when Ali.
Championship contender. Just when Ali around. Oh no! It's all gone down the drain. Safso with the 1 million IQ strat going for Inters. He's in the lead now. Everyone else pitting, struggling, and just when Ali down in 14th and overshooting the pit entry as well. Oh my, it's all gone down the storm drain. Safso in the lead. Is this going to be his crowning moment? It's still a bit early to say, but he's looking very good right now.
Well, Timo Mardik obviously not losing too many places in that 9th place, because obviously he'll come back out. He was in 6th, I think, if my memory serves me right, and he will have those, you know, damp conditioned tyres on the car. Sebastian Bobeck now sits in second, but Safso now leads the way after a brilliant decision-making manoeuvre in terms of the strategy. Now on the intermediate tyres has gapped Bobeck now out to 2.5 seconds and looks extremely confident now heading through this middle sector. I tell you what a twist in the books. We did see it coming. We felt that it was on the way. We said the fact that the intermediate tyres would have wanted the safety car to remain out for as long as possible. Bobeck, incidentally, still working to try and bring that delta back in, but that was the key moment. The rain at the very end of the safety car stint. I mean, you get the feeling as well, though, I mean, looking at it on paper, Badgerman, that there was really an error made by Ian Sanger. He should have boxed right at the safety car restart, really.
All of them. The only one who actually did it, who actually pitted at the end of the safety car, is Liam in P7. Everyone else, the top 6, pitted before the end of the safety car. Safso, Sebastian Bobeck, and Meraki as the safety car came out. Phoenix and Kerbs 1 lap later, and then Adam 2 laps later, and then Liam as the safety car came in. Look where they are. The earlier you pitted, the higher up the order you are right now. And that's what we're seeing as Carbon Shadow is around in turn 12, right on the Anderson Bridge. And let's see if he can get going again, hopefully. Yep, he's pointing the right way again. And he'll be going. He's not out of the race. Maybe he's trying to cause a safety car, I don't know. But yeah, the earlier you pitted, the better. And look at this. Liam in P7, he's a good 5.5 seconds clear of Tom, who's the first driver of those who pitted a lap after the safety car and after the chaos ensued already. Shades of Malaysia 2009 going on here. If you remember that race, they started the lap, there was no rain. They finished the lap, they were all sliding all over the place. So that's what we saw here. Pretty much the same scenario, only different country, different track. My goodness, but it's actually not too far away from Malaysia. Singapore and Malaysia geographically very close together, so it makes sense. But unbelievable scenes. And Staffso leading the way, but Bobeck is closing in.
Well, Bobeck is starting to get closer. He's working hard to try and rein in the gap, and he's doing just that right now. Meraki also being brought into this. Williams, incidentally, looking extremely strong. Kerbs currently sits in 5th, so they got both cars in the top 5. And Mercedes also looking good too, with Zafso up in P1 with Liam in P7. Tom as well trying to work hard to stay within the top 10. Tim and Marduk starting to put a few holes in that delta between him and the Alpine, so it's all starting to come together now. Butchie Ants in 11th and has managed to gap in Fratic to 4.3. Dirk Chocolate, who is considerably off the pace right now. The car in front of him though, Ian Sanger. Who would have pictured this? That Sanger would have lost all that time after leading the way for so long and then losing it, of course, heading into that final sector and then having to pit again only at the wrong time. One could only imagine what could have been. And I'm sure he would have been wondering what could have been if he actually boxed when he should have. And you're just seeing now Shadow, he's the first driver opting for the wet tyres here, Badgerman.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the right call. Obviously, it's Mark, the in-game engineer, coming through saying we have a new strategy option, but it's just not enough in terms of time, I think, to go on to wets. We'll see if Carbon Shadow is... no, he's struggling with it. He's currently... in turn 8, he's about to be lapped, and the wet tyres are clearly not the right tyre just yet. I'm going to see if... actually, in terms of tyre temperature, they are holding up, but maybe not in terms of pace. I think he's going to be struggling a bit too much in terms of pace with those tyres for now. Maybe they're going to be worth it in about 4-5 minutes time, but it's really a gamble, and I think you'll be just as fine staying out on inters. Obviously, you're going to have to drive a bit more carefully, but it shouldn't be that big of an issue if you are on inters right now and you just stay on them. Yeah. But we'll see what the drivers do. Some might decide to go for wets as a bit of a risk-taking exercise, you know, trying to make up some places that way, catch some other drivers out. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, well, Sebastian Bobeck still trying to gain on Zasso. He's actually putting some serious holes in that time as well. We've also got the gap between Bushy Ants and Scars coming down all the time as well. Those two have been fighting it out, and the Alpine getting closer and closer to the back of the Alfa Romeo. 2 Alfa Romeos are currently in the midst of a bit of a tussle. Scars currently trying to hold on to that P10 that Bushiance is going to try and take away from him here. Of course, we've got Bobek up in second. He's trying to close up on Zafso. That, of course, is the fight for the lead of this particular race. And then further down, the two Red Bulls, currently 13th and 14th, not having the best of days. Even with a reverse grid, a late last minute reverse grid suggestion, Dirk Chocolate still can't get out of the bottom 10.
Yeah, that's, Dirk just being Dirk. But then again, he's also had more pit stops than anybody else.
He's trying everything. So. He's trying everything, and it's not working. It has to be said.
To be fair, I think his number one objective was not to get out of the top 10 because he had the right choice, right? He pitted for the intermediate tire when the safety car came out. He had the right call there, and then he decided, I think, I'm going to read this as nicely as I can for him. He decided to spice up the race and pit again and hold up the safety car for a couple laps to really make things interesting, and that's exactly what happened. Obviously sacrificed his own race in the process.
Well, Domega's got it right, I think. We're just waiting for the surprise reverse race results announcement, which I think is very apt.
And you win a Formula race.
yeah, well, he's the winner. He's already won.
Yeah.
If that's where we're going.
Mr. Dale in second.
Mr. Dale is taking second, Lars in P3. I think we're going to have to add the rule in that you have to actually finish the race to actually qualify to be part of it. But nonetheless, it means that Shadow has won. But yeah, no, incredible. It's honestly insane. I mean, what a race. I mean, we did think it would be dramatic. The weather enough, obviously allowing it to be dramatic as well and getting very squirrely then that time. Obviously, Scars, this will tee up an opportunity now for Bushiance. He's got to take his chance as well. Heading down this next long straight, heading out to the hairpin at turn 13. Now in the Connaught corner, still can't find a way through. Scars doing enough to keep the Alpine at bay.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm looking at Tiamat Marduk and Tom. Tiamat Marduk getting ever so close to the Alpine in front of him. Two of the biggest creators on the F1 game are battling it out here over P8 right now. However, that's for now. Anything can still happen. And we are not even halfway through this race.
Well, no, everything's
not
on the table.
Time. Yeah, not on time. We still have 66 minutes left on the timer, and not on laps either. So anything can happen, and nothing is safe.
No, absolutely not. Now, we are due to have 92% rain now, 94%.
94.
And so we're going to be kicking things up a notch very shortly. Now, the question is, how much can these intermediates sustain? Will we get another safety car? Because obviously, that's the danger at this point. We're now seeing Dirk Chocolate and Infratic coming together again this time, getting very tail happy, Dirk Chocolate on the outside of turn 3 as they head now out of turn 2 and 3 down towards turn 4, and it will be Dirk Chocolate. He's managed to hold on. Infratic not able to pounce on the opportunity as Dirk Chocolate lost his rear slightly heading out into the first sector. We now see him dive through towards the inside, trying to break the toe that Infratic's offering. Oh, Red Bull. Deary me, what's going on here? Dirk Chocolate giving the positions up at this point.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing there, but he's letting everyone through, it seems. Clearly not taking it as fast as he could. And then he battles. Oh, it almost put. Oh, he did put Juswan Ali into the wall a bit. Juswan Ali already struggling, by the way, with a. Can I please stay? The game didn't want me to choose Juswan Ali. I pressed the correct buttons. And then they switched positions, so it didn't work. Bobek, meanwhile, passed Safso. That's not an issue for Safso. He would still win the championship at this point. He's pitting.
Safso
he's going
for the West. Big call here.
And Meraki and Phoenix, they got the call from Mark. New strategy option, and they decide to take it. And Sebastian Bobek, the ever so clever engineer for Haas Esports and for RAG Esports, knows that this is not going to be good, that the Inters can take this. Usually the crossover point between Inters and Wets on most circuits, including Singapore, is somewhere between 85 and 90%. That's how much they can actually take. It's quite silly, to be fair, but it's quite realistic, because when have we ever seen real Formula 1 take the wet tyres? Usually they just red flag the race at that point. But off topic that. Just a bit of a critique there. But, you know, it's very high. It's 85 to 90%. So right now, the wets are better.
Yeah, well, I'm just
is it
seeing...
worth it to pit? Is the time loss worth it? I don't think so, because you have to make up 2 pit stops at this point.
Well, if your team
You have to make up...
If your teammate Malik, just watching him on my screen right now, Zafso has obviously moved into third now off that base. Just seeing now a battle resume now between Meraki and teammate Malik. Obviously, Ben Daly donning the intermediate tyre. Now, one has to wonder whether he is going to stay out on this lap or whether he's going to come in.
I hope.
We'll have to wait and see. If he stays out, genius call as Meraki goes past him.
Because within the next 10 minutes, the rain is going to come back down. And in fact, less than that. It's going to be 7 or 8 laps. It's going to come back down, and at that point, those who are now on wets, Safso, Baraki, Phoenix, Kerbs, and almost everyone behind that as well, they will have to pit again. Tebet Marduk, he won't have to pit again. He's still on inters, so, and very good inters as well. They shouldn't struggle too much. So there's no need for him to pit again. So he will gain all that time back. We have a yellow flag. That is Adam. That is Adam around, and that is a free position for Tiamat Marduk. Adam now down to P6. He also on intermediates, and that's the one thing you're not allowed to do really on intermediates. If you want to make up places, you want to gain time, you cannot put it in the wall. You cannot spin. You cannot lose that much time. A little bit of time, 3 seconds, 4 seconds a lap even. No issue. That's what the tires give you. And no, Tiamat Marduk does come in.
Oh, he's opted for the strategy choice for the wet tyres. Very, very bold move. This might cost him. Into the pits comes Ben Daly, folks. And I tell you what, we all know what's going to happen. We've seen the weather. Look at this. We are due to have clear weather later on as well. So I tell you what, it's going to be a roller coaster ride coming up. We've also got the Mercedes garage getting busy as well with tyres. So could that mean a big change up here? Is Safso going to make the decision to change his tyres again? Because I saw what looked to be some black jackets coming out of the garage with wet tyres.
Might be Liam. Might be Liam.
Might be a wing change.
Liam went past as well. Liam went past the pit lane as well, but it might be both of them then at that point. But Safso has stayed out for now, as has Liam. But look at Bobek's gap. And remember, Safso is closing in right now. But Safso is going to have to pit again for inters. And Bobek can just stay out, keep driving, keep chucking down the laps, and he will absolutely have a good time here. I reckon his gap, once everyone else has switched back to inters, will probably be around 30 seconds at least.
Yeah, well, Tim Marduk, just to say, went toe-to-toe with Bushy Ants heading through on his outlap here on those new wet tyres, and unfortunately could not quite break Bushy Ants for that 10th place. Bushy Ants managing to retake it almost straight away. But this is not going to help, obviously. I mean, Tiamat Marduk had a huge chance. If he remained on the intermediate tyres, he could have gained. Obviously, when all the wet tyre compounds would have come in for another set of intermediates. Obviously, we know it's going to dry up later on, folks. We're now also seeing it's Ilke retiring from the session. Now he's out of the race. Is that going to be a safety car? It is.
It is, yeah. And that helps now. All the wet runners, they can now bail out of their strategy and go back on inters. They should. Safso has not done that, but he gets one more lap to decide. Well, because, once again, Sebastian Bobek is past the safety car. He is in turn 5 right now. The safety car is out of turn 3. So he's already past it. So everyone gets to decide for one lap. They can choose. They can look, check around. And, they can decide what they're going to do. And I wonder if they're going to come in. Honestly, I would. At this point, I would come in. If I'm on wets, I would come in for inters. If I'm on inters, I'd stay out.
Tom's in on the wet tyres. He's coming in, and he's going to make a change. Now, let's see.
You have to bail. Tiamat Marduk in as well for championship contenders right here. Yeah. And that's crucial. I think they're all going back to inters, as they should.
Well, there we have it. A lot of them coming in. Of course, Iron Sanga also in as well. Bushy Ants in. And we've got Adam in as well. Just seeing more and more cars come out now of the pit lane. Obviously, still plenty more to come through. I'd imagine there'll be a few of them obviously opting to come in as well. There's quite a few wet tyres. In fact, just when Ali, smart move, he could yet move himself up at least 2 places. Obviously, Dirk Chocolate coming into the pits as well, with Scars also in the pits. As you know, so just when Ali heading on through as well. And
Alfie in the chat is asking why Safso is not boxing. Safso, Meraki, Phoenix, Curbs, and Liam all stayed out, but it's not that big of an issue. Again, they are able to now make the decision again to pit, and they wouldn't lose anything. So it's not a big deal for them to stay out right now. They can now come in at the end of this lap.
Yeah, and obviously there'll still be more laps as well behind the safety car. So we're going to have a brilliant restart now, folks. Obviously plenty of cars now will be coming in to get more intermediate tyres, and we'll have a huge battle heading down towards turn 1 when the safety car comes in and we get back underway for more racing. But incredible to say the least. Obviously we did expect it. Obviously more safety cars
Safso's coming in
to the order. Yep, Safso coming into the pit lane as we now watch and see the wet tyres now. They'll soon be stripped off, with intermediates then next on the radar. Meraki as well going to be coming in too, but I tell you what, a very well executed race by Sebastian Bobek so far since leading the race. Stayed on the intermediate tyres. Smart decision there from the Haas F1 Esports engineer, and obviously has plenty of expertise in this regard, and now also proving to be very smart as a driver as well, as Safso now exits the pit lane and will no doubt retake his second place on track spot, with Meraki now in the pits as well as the Ferrari. We've also got Curbs in as well. Both Williamses opted for the double stack in this instance. Meraki already leaving his grid place, with now Curbs also exiting as well. So it's all happening here. Lap 32. Of course, we've got 61 laps in total in this Creator Series Singapore Grand Prix. Never ceases to amaze, folks, when we see the dramatics out on track. We've seen lots of it, plenty of cars DNFing. We've got a 5-second time penalty for Curbs as well. So that's a big shame for the Williams driver now, who's going to suffer as a result. And maybe an infraction heading into the pit lane, or should we say on the outset of the pit lane, in fact.
Outset, yeah. He made the #1 rookie mistake to cross the pit lane exit white line, and that gives him a 5-second penalty. It's such an avoidable mistake, really, but it happened, and he's going to have to live with that 5-second penalty now. It's going to take us a couple laps, by the way, for all the cars to catch back up. It might actually potentially be worth it to pit for mediums. I'm a bit joking, but not really. I mean, 10 minutes until the crossover, pretty much. Meraki's out. Wait, what?
Goodness me, where did that come from? He's binned it. He's binned it.
Yeah.
His teammate's just gone
And
past
the
him.
safety car. Oh no.
I mean, you very rarely see that, but I tell you what, that is disappointment, folks. I'm not sure how you put a spin on it, but Meraki binning it at this specific point in time. We'll obviously see if we can cross over and see if we can get a view from his rig. Despondent scenes, certainly I'd imagine, for Meraki. And there you can see he is not happy whatsoever. Disappointment for Meraki. And he is absolutely dumbfounded. I think we all are at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not... Oh, Bobek switching tires. He knows he's got the gap, so he decides to go for a fresh set of inters. Again, clever. Clever. He sees he's got the gap to Safso, so why not go for a fresh set of inters, which will give him significantly more grip and still keep the lead. He just got a fresh set for actually no downside. Beautiful choice there from Bobek. And once again, just showing why he's earning the big bucks in F1 Esports for Haas with RAG. This is why he is a top-level engineer right there. He stayed out when almost everyone else came in for wet tires. He knew he could just stay out because the wet period wasn't going to be long enough to be worth it. And he still got the lead, so much so that he was able to get a brand new set of inters and still maintain the lead.
Yeah, well, Curbs is now also boxed again for the second lap in succession, and this time to serve the penalty that he received earlier on. So he's now coming out into 9th place. It's all gone horribly wrong for Williams at this point. And,
I mean, what people asking why the delta is so slow. I don't think the delta is slow. I think the tires just can't handle the conditions right now. It's only getting now to the point where intermediates are actually handling the rain well enough. So now you should see cars closing in a bit more. compared to previously. But yeah, the Delta is not necessarily the slowest. It's that the drivers just can't handle the pace, I think, in some regards, because the tires really can't handle the pace and the conditions. Now they can, and the Delta should speed up as the rain subsides more and more. So the Delta is also tied to the condition on track, and as the track dries up, the Delta is faster and faster.
Yeah, Shadow is actually serving a drive-through penalty as well at the tail end of the field. So there's more cars still waiting to exit back onto the track. Just look at the penalties list, folks. It is quite extensive at this point. And quite a few cars, so 3 of them are currently out of the race as well. Bit of a shocker. Got to say, Meraki did not see that coming. 5-second time penalty for Scars as well. You certainly won't appreciate that. But as the safety car now makes its way round yet again, still Sebastian Bobek on top. Obviously, we will wait for the other cars to catch up with the rest of the field. There was quite a gap to be reshuffled. Obviously, this was all due to the fact that Bobek, obviously smartly, stayed out on the intermediate tyres and managed to gain an incredible amount, obviously, on those that actually boxed for the wets as well. So, hence why we've got this extraordinary gap. But tell you what, if we didn't have another safety car, Bobek probably could have walked the rest of this race.
Yeah, certainly. If we had finished this going green all the way through, yeah, Bobek probably would have walked this race. No doubt about it. Probably won by 30 seconds or more. With the pace he has, with the correct decision that he made, certainly it would have been quite easy for him to just walk away with this victory. But safety car brings it all back together. Second safety car of the race. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get one more in the dry later on, because it's supposed to stop raining within the next 10 minutes. And I
think this is our third safety car at this point. I think this is our third safety car, I believe.
I think it's our second. I might be wrong, but let me check just to make sure.
Vote in the live chat.
Yeah. I don't think facts are being decided by democracy.
I don't know. You lose count here, especially after. Oh no, it is the third. We've had some confirmation. Alfie White official says third safety car. So
there you go. Okay, yeah. My bad. I forgot one.
George
already.
wins always.
There you go. As always.
Yeah. For Bobek, it's going to take us round. But yeah, incredible. I mean, obviously now it's teed up to be a great race. We've got all the cars now starting to wheel their way out behind the safety car. Bobek, Sasso, Adam, as well as Liam as well. In fact, I've got 2 Adams on the grid, which is sensational. And I want clarification. Badger, do you know who the other Ferrari is?
That would be Phoenix.
Oh, it's Phoenix. He's picked the wrong number. Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. Naughty boy. You give the drivers one job, they pick the wrong number. Incredible. Yeah. So there we have it, folks. Typical. But nevertheless, we are still under safety car conditions, and it is going to be Sebastian Bobek, and who's currently making his way around this circuit. We've got many more cars still queuing up ahead as well. Now, I'm watching it. The safety car has peeled offwards, so I think we are going to be getting back underway on this lap as well.
No, we haven't gotten the message yet. The safety car saying it's just that Bobek leaves a long gap to it for seemingly no reason.
He's teasing us.
Yeah. He gave us the wrong impression by staying that far away. But no, the safety car is staying out because so many cars still haven't caught up yet. I mean, we're still looking at Carbon Shadow, who's 1:50 behind the safety car at this point, and in turn 8 right now. So plenty of distance yet to be made for him. He might not actually be able to make it by the time the safety car comes in, because the safety car has, I think, a maximum length, a maximum amount of laps that it does stay out. Actually, Schriebel is making a good point. Bobek staying that far away from the safety car does actually re-enable the Delta, which makes it harder for drivers to catch up. I know what he's doing. It just dawned on me. Oh, Bobek, you fox. Unbelievable. What he's trying to do, I'm trying to explain this as quickly as possible. This is, again, 500 IQ stuff. He's trying to leave a gap to the safety car, re-enable the Delta, allow drivers not to catch up, because he knows the rain is going to stop within the next 5 minutes or so. And at that point, he wants to be able to pit, potentially now under safety car, for medium tyres,
So
I would assume.
So we'd expect him to box this lap, essentially, I would imagine.
Possibly.
Yeah.
If we don't get the message, safety car in this lap, or even if we do, he might actually... No, if we get it now, he'll stay out. But if we don't get it now, and he re-enables the Delta again, then we might... But nope, safety car in this lap, he's got to stay out now. He tried, but the game is not having any of it. And the race control decided, nope, we're going to have the restart now. So he's slowing everyone down now. And preparing for the reset. It's too early right now to go on to mediums. That being said, next lap potentially already. It looks like the crossover is quite rapid again.
Well, I tell you what, folks, you've not seen a more dramatic race than this. Sebastian Bobeck leads the way. Zafso, who's in the fight for the championship, sits in second. If you want a reminder as to where we are currently in terms of the list of drivers in this classification, Bobeck leads, Zafso second, Adam in third. That is obviously Phoenix. Liam in fourth, Tom in fifth, Sanger in sixth, Bushy Ants in seventh, Curbs as well there. Timet Marduk needs to try and raise himself from P9 up to P7 to be in contest for this championship. There's no seeing Bobeck now head towards the final corner, and very shortly we will be going racing again as they now round the final two bends here. Turns 22 and turns 23. It's all on Sebastian Bobeck as for... Well, once again, we'll put pedal to the metal this time for the fourth time in this Grand Prix. And as they head down through towards turn one, we've got side-by-side action. And we've got Arjen Sanger, who's trying to immediately take Tom for that P5 place as they wheel side-by-side still, heading out to turn three. Squeezing now to the outside the Alpine of Tom as Arjen Sanger now looks to try and move his way through the field. He's done so brilliantly. The recovery mission's on. We've lost another car. Adam is out.
Yeah, he spun on the exit of turn 3 to the left side, and that is his race over, but it doesn't look like we're going to get another safety car, at least right now. Timet Marduk with the dive on Dirk. Dirk just turns in on him. Doesn't even care that he's there. Just on Ali now up to P8, 9, battling with Timet Marduk. Championship contenders, and Timet Marduk closes the door, shuts the door on him. My goodness, he takes no prisoners here today. Unbelievable.
Is there wing damage
Timet
on Ali's
Marduk's
car?
tires are dead cold right now. That's why he's struggling so much. His tires are entirely too cold.
Well, you've got to wonder whether there's damage on just one Ali's car, because of course now he's trapped behind Dirk Chocolate. He did make contact with the barrier. Has he got wing damage?
He has 33% rear wing damage, but he's had that from before that incident. He's had that for the last 15 or 20 laps or so. Ever since the rain came as crazy as it was at the time, and he spun in the Malaysia 2009 reminiscent conditions, that's when he got 33% rear wing damage, but also 8% front wing damage on the left side only. Not that big of a deal, but the rear wing damage is certainly going to hurt him.
Yeah, well, Arjen Sanger as well, moving up into third ahead of Phoenix for that third place. Further back, Liam also in the mix of all this too. And we're now seeing Timet Marduk's left the session. He's left the session. Now that could prove costly. He's currently in 8th, and surely now Dirk Chocolate is going to close the gap. Incredible scenes here in lap 37 of 61. Ben Daly having problems here in lap 37 of 61.
His car's holding on quite well, to be fair. His game has crashed, but he can rejoin. He's not losing any time right now, because here's the one thing that really helps Ben Daly right now. In these conditions, usually the AI has magic methods to gain back their tire temperature. So Timet Marduk was struggling. The tires were way too cold, and he was struggling all the way until when he left the session. When he rejoins, his tires will be in fantastic shape. They won't be overheating, they won't be too cold, they'll be in perfect temperature, and that is helpful. And look at this, he's holding on. Look at this, the AI is staying with Bushy, with Liam, with Tom. He's not losing much time.
Not at all. I say what is kicking off here. Bushy Ants obviously doing his best to try and close up on Lee, and Timet Marduk's car though doing enough to hold on. Ben just sitting back here watching this all happen. Obviously his car working its way around the track. He's waiting for his game to load up. Ben, I know how you feel, mate, but look at this. Just when Ali trying to make his way through past teammate Marduk, all he can do is watch on, and is literally, yes, he's giving it back as they head down side by side. Just when Ali probably doesn't even know that Ben's not in the car as they wrestle with each other, heading out to the next right-hander as Ben Daly still watches on. Just when Ali up into 8th place.
Okay, and apparently we're getting news that Ben's wheel may have broken. Equipment failure on the final race of the season. I mean, we've had all the drama already. He has joined back. Maybe his wheel is not broken. Maybe we're getting wrong information here, but certainly more and more drama just kicking off. This is unbelievable stuff right now. Meanwhile, the net championship leader right now is still Safso, and he's still holding on to the rear of Sebastian Bobek. On P2 right now is Safso, and at this point we have to start thinking about pitting for mediums with the drivers. I mean, the rain is actually sitting at 20% right now, and I'm going on board, and yeah, the rain has stopped entirely. There's no actual rain dropping from the skies anymore. All the water that you see is just being kicked up from being already on the circuit. No rain anymore, dry heavens, but the track is still quite damp.
We're due to have light cloudy conditions and then followed up by some sunshine spells as well, folks, so this track will not be damp for too much longer. The question is now, does Bobek come in now? Does Zapso join him? This is the decision that is now going to be working in the minds of these drivers now as we're watching them make their way through towards the next hairpin. We have got an update in terms of Meraki saying, for the record, my game melted as I went 3 kilometers per hour into the wall. So a couple of technical issues starting to creep in the drivers now. Obviously, Ben suffering the same thing earlier on. Obviously, his game crashing. Meraki having issues now as well. And in fact, it's his car, not his game. His car melted at this point.
Yeah, should have gone into the wall with 4 kph. I think it might have survived it. But sometimes it's just really unlucky. Sometimes you have just these moments where, I mean, we are running this event on standard damage, so I'm actually very surprised to hear. Yeah, in they come. This is the timing now. We should have the message DRS enabled rather soon. But yeah, 3 kph is quite surprising there, to be fair. But sometimes that can happen, normally on simulation damage, but can happen on standard damage as well. Very unlucky at this point. And there is the message. DRS enabled, so that's why everyone is pitting. They got the message from Mark, the in-game engineer, previously known as Jeff. No, that was a different person, but they're all the same. They all blend together at some point. And there you go, all back out on track. And it should be mediums across the board. And it is, in fact, mediums across the board, and they will make it to the end for the last 22 laps. Or less. It's only 40.5 minutes remaining. So we might see the race end a bit earlier than lap 61.
Well, incidentally, Ben Daly coming out in P7 place. Now, what does this mean in terms of the championship fight? Because obviously Zafso currently sits in second. Obviously, it does mean that he will hold on to the lead and obviously take the championship. But as teammate Marduk closes down, we could have still yet a few flares, a few fireworks, should we say, before the end of this Grand Prix. Granted, Ben probably does need a safety car, but as it's stretched right now, we've got plenty of opportunity. Just when Ali also in the top 10. I tell you what, is someone going to do the dirty? Is there going to be a safety car before the end here, Badgerman?
I mean, Dirk's still in the race, so there's always a possibility, but...
I didn't think you'd go there, but you did.
I was going to go... No, but to be fair, Dirk has already caused at least one safety car that we know of on purpose. Not by crashing, just by stopping on track. So it wouldn't be the second... It wouldn't be the first time. It would be the second time at least.
What are you saying, Badgerman? What are you saying?
What I am saying is that I didn't mean it in the sense of, oh, he's going to crash. I meant it in the sense of Dirk is there and he knows how to give us a good show. You know, he doesn't think about his own race. He wouldn't do it for his own race.
Think of where we are as well.
For us.
Think of
for
where
us,
we are.
He would do it.
Think of where we are. There's 2006.
Oh no! Oh no! That just dawned on me.
Oh well, incredible.
I think he's not driving a Renault.
Well, true, that is true. I mean, it could be worse. I mean, if it was Alpine, then we're going to bring out all sorts of crazy conspiracy theories here at this point. But
exactly.
no, amazing. Zafso currently
if it was Ocon's Alpine, even more so, because then you've got Alonso as the teammate.
True, that is very true. Yes, absolutely right. But nevertheless, hopefully no such issues. If you want the live championship update, folks, Harry, our moderator, has kindly given it to you in the live chat. We have got P1 for Zafso, P2 for Team Marduk. Just Finale will fall into third place in the championship, but do not write anything off yet. Expect the unexpected. 21 laps of magic. Plenty more to offer, 22 including this one, folks, and it is Sebastian Bobeck who leads the way. Zafso in second. We've also got Ian Sanger in third, with Phoenix in fourth place, having a superb drive in the Ferrari as well. I mean, Ferrari haven't had the easiest of seasons, but it certainly looks to me that Phoenix is going to give them some good points today.
Yeah, certainly. Looks like a very strong result for him right now. P4, granted with the penalties that he has. That's an incredible job for him right now, but can he hold on to it is the main question. You've got guys like Bushy Ants behind you, Tiamat Marduk, Tom, Liam, drivers who are no slouches whatsoever. So, and certainly Tiamat Marduk is going to try to work his way through the field and make some overtakes happen. Otherwise, he might not have a shot at the championship.
Well, Tiamat Marduk currently sits in seventh. He's trying to close down on Liam, and you'd expect him to do so. He's fast enough to do it. Ian Sanger, in fact, the fastest car on track. He went faster than anybody on that previous lap and has stolen the fastest lap of the race to boot as well. Trying to close up on Zafso for that second place is Ian Sanger. There you have it, folks, the confirmation graphic. Fastest lap of the race here on lap 41 of 61. And 21 laps to go here in this Grand Prix. Itzilki has now just left the session. Of course, he was already out earlier on. An incredible 6 cars DNFing in this Singapore Grand Prix. God, it's like we didn't expect that to happen, wasn't it? Incredible. Obviously, it was on the table, given the fact that we are at Singapore with the wet weather coming into play. But naturally, looks like we're going to have dry conditions, at least for now, until the end of the race. It has been one hell of a roller coaster ride. Decisions being made left and right. Tiamat Marduk trying to get closer now to Liam for 6th spot. Bushy Ants also chasing the McLaren, heading through this next left. Zafso trying to break into that 1.3 second gap, but Sebastian Bobeck managing this race absolutely superbly. He's got to be up there for driver of the day.
Oh, absolutely. It was simply for the decision making that he's had so far, but also for the pace, obviously. I mean, he's mighty quick around here, but again, making the right choices at the right time every single time. Absolutely fantastic stuff right there from Sebastian Bobeck. And right now, if I wouldn't even need him to win the race. As long as he finishes in like the top 3, top 4, I think he would earn driver of the day for sure.
Yeah. There you go, folks. Another fastest lap for Ian Sanger, who is absolutely flying at this point. Closing up on Zafso for P2. A very tight, tigerish line heading through turns 2 and 3. Ran over the rumble strip a little bit, but managed to recover well and has taken the fastest lap here at Singapore and continues his prosaic rise now as he looks to attack that of the Silver Arrows in front of him here. Massive, massive opportunity to promote his podium placing. Outside line, inside line now as they make their way in towards the next left at turn 7. The AlphaTauri scoots on through, breaks ahead of Zafso. Zafso knows that he doesn't want to forfeit too much, but at the same time can afford to lose a couple of places given the fact that he will hold on to the championship advantage, at least for now.
Exactly, and that's the consideration that has to go into that. That's why he really did not put up a fight whatsoever, because if he crashes out with Arian together, let's just say, if that happens, all of a sudden Tiamat Marduk's up in P6, possibly P5, because he's battling with Bushy right now. Just when Ale would be up into P7, and all of a sudden your championship hopes, even though you went into this race leading, you had such a commanding lead, all of a sudden that's gone up in flames. So he says, you know what, I'd rather take P3 in the hand than P2 on the roof, because P3 in the hand means championship win.
Yeah, absolutely right. Just looking now, Liam getting very close to the back of Tom right now. This could very easily bring Tiamat Marduk and Bushy Ants into the fray here. Liam currently sitting in 6th. Didn't see that Bushy actually managed to overtake Tiamat Marduk earlier on. That gap was quite extensive. It's now out again. Ian Sanger. I tell you what, where's he finding this pace? Fastest lap again here on lap 43 of 61. Sensational. He's caught up with Sebastian Bobeck as well. So we've got a fight for the lead here in lap 43 of 61. Bobeck now being challenged for the first time in a long time in this Singapore Grand Prix, here now on lap 43 of 61, now making their way down through turn 6, turn 7 up next. Now we all know that Sanger likes to do it here. Doesn't have a look this time, but he will have a chance though, heading out of turn 7 in towards turn 8. A very shaky moment as he very nearly loses the car, heading through turn 8 this time. He will have a chance out of turn 9, you'd expect.
Possibly, for sure. I mean, he can really choose when he wants to get past. And yeah, people are saying in the chat that Ben is on a wet weather setup. He's losing 6/10 a lap. He's not on a good setup. He is losing more than 6/10 a lap on Bushy, but Bushy's mighty quick. He's losing a second on Bobeck. He's losing quite a bit of time generally. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's a good setup for these dry conditions that Tim Mark is on. Certainly a struggle there, but Arian, he just gets to sit back and relax a little bit, recharge his battery potentially, and then bring the fight to Bobeck. And Safso has the best seat in the house right now. You can watch on from behind and watch these two battle it out. And he only has to worry about, if they come together, which line do they take to avoid that?
Yeah, we're now running on board with Ian Sanger as he makes his way through the final 2 corners now. At turns 22 and 23, the gap now is enlarging between him and Bobeck. They make their way down through towards turn 1 now. They fly under the Creator Series banner and now through the next chicane. Next left at turn 3 as well. The Alfa Romeo still holds on to the lead. Back on the throttle straight away, Ian Sanger. And then we'll take the curb on the left, now straight through towards the right. Now back on the power still, as now they make their way down this next straight. Certainly looks like this AlphaTauri is built more for straight line speed than corner speed here. Bobeck obviously maybe a little bit more corner friendly as now they work their way through this next left. I think Ian Sanger tends to make his delta up down the main straight, and also coming out of turn 5. That car definitely looks like it has less wings than what Bobeck has.
I can try to see if I can... No, I can't tell. I have no access to that, unfortunately. I was hoping. But yeah, seems like he does have a bit of a straight line speed advantage over Sebastian Bobeck, and that certainly helps. But yeah, we have talk as well about Ali being 2.5 laps over fuel right now, which is correct. He's 2.5 laps over fuel at this point in time, but he hasn't actually overfueled at the start. He just regained all those laps of fuel under the safety cars, etc. So, not really his, you know, not really his doing much more the safety cars doing. But yeah, Ian just waiting right now, again patiently. The problem is for Arian that you don't really regain much ERS around here because you run high wings. You regain a lot less ERS. And so, since you regain less ERS, generally speaking, and you have a circuit like Singapore where you don't really have many heavy braking zones, plus, again, the wings are doing a lot of the braking for you already.
Here comes Sanger now, side-by-side battle for the lead of the race. Bobeck now being challenged by Ian Sanger. Move made, heading through towards turn 7. The AlphaTauri now leads the way. Ian Sanger's been threatening it all race long, ever since the change onto the dry tyres. And the pace again lighting up for the AlphaTauri. He leads the Singapore Grand Prix.
Yeah, wonderful move there. Uses the DRS to his advantage, round the outside, and gets the job done. Now his aim is going to be to make a gap, to try to get away from Bobeck. That he doesn't have DRS anymore, and it's looking pretty good with the pace that he's had so far.
Yeah, he's looking pretty strong. It certainly seems that way. He's gapping Bobeck now by 10th. 7/10 of a second now the advantage for the AlphaTauri. And on the brand new medium tyres, he's looking really solid right now. Just when Ali, who is, of course, currently sat behind, well, he was sat behind Tim Malik in the championship. I'd imagine now that's changed because obviously just when Ali was on 78 points ahead, 3 points ahead, and Tim Malik leaving the session again. More problems this time for the McLaren driver, and now could potentially serve himself up to an attack from just when Ali.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much done for Tim Malik. The only thing that could really save him would be a safety car switching onto new softs Remember, Tiamat Marduk has not used the soft so far in this race, and I don't think resetting his glitch is going to do anything. I don't think that there's going to be much going on in terms of the tire wear. The tire wear is what it is. The only thing that can save Tiamat Marduk at this point is probably going to be a safety car and switching on to new soft tires, of which he should have one set at least available.
Well, there we go. The word from Badgerman. Big hello as well to Red Bull Racing Esports, who are joining us in the live chat too. Obviously cheering on their man Dirk. I think he needs a little bit more than cheering, unfortunately, guys, as he currently sits in 11th place. But great to have you guys along for the ride, as always. Not just featuring, obviously, in the world of F1 Esports, but also featuring here at the Creator Series with your favourite creators too. Dirk Chocolate currently sat 11th in this classification. Possibilities, though, of a safety car, though, Badgerman, look pretty high. If you consider the some of the stuff we've seen this season already, you would not throw it out the question, as now Justin Ali overtakes Tiamat Marduk for that 8th place on track. A super move needed to be done, but Tiamat Marduk just rejoining, and now he's going to have to try and chase down that Haas. Remember, championship position on the line. Tiamat Marduk looking to try and move up into 2nd in the table, with Justin Ali currently holding on to that position.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to care too much about whether he's 2nd or 3rd in the championship. I think he wants to win this, and right now it's not looking good. He's 21.5 seconds behind Safzo, who is currently the net championship leader with only 15 laps remaining. It's not looking all too great for Tiamat Marduk here, or for Juswan Ali, in fact. I think they're just battling over the crumbs right now, and Safzo is going to have the cake as things stand. P3 right now, they're lapping Carbon Shadow. The top 3 are the top 2 already have in Arjen Sanger and Sebastian Bobek, and then Safzo will be the next one to lap the McLaren of Carbon Shadow. But yeah, big struggle there for both Juswan Ali and Tiamat Marduk. Remember, Juswan Ali with the rear wing damage, 33%. That hurts you on the straight a lot. Not just that, it also reduces your rear downforce, which makes the car a lot more oversteery. And we have a yellow flag. That is Dirk. I think Red Bull Racing Esports just brought a bit of bad luck with them, because Dirk was just around and is losing 2 places to Infratic and to Scars. Down to 13th he goes.
Yep, Scars now taking the place ahead of Dirk Chocolate in P12, but Dirk far from done as he now looks down the inside now again on the Alfa Romeo. Side by side they remain into the braking zone, but still it's going to be Scars who holds on. Dirk did have a look, did try and put the pressure on just slightly on the Alfa Romeo, just could not quite perform the move that was required, but now remains where he is in 13th. Good news for him, he's not propping up the classification because Carbon Shadow has got that privilege. Big shame though for Dirk. Certainly hasn't been his day. A couple of issues in the pit stop phases as well, where he stopped again for tyres he probably didn't needed, or certainly didn't need earlier on. And now once again a spin, which hasn't helped his cause either. 13th place with a lot of work to do, but we've still got racing time left. Lap 47 of 61. Anything can happen at this point.
Certainly, and Dirk has completed one thing that I actually haven't seen really at any point before. As Liam is pitting, front wing damage. He's going for softs, but he's also going to have a front wing change. So that props up Juswan Ali and Tiamat Marduk by at least 1 position there. They're moving up the field a tiny bit. But yeah, what Dirk has done that I haven't seen anyone ever do in recent memory at least, is he's not only done the rainbow strategy, meaning he's used every single compound available to him, but also he's broken my telemetry tool because it can only show 8 stints, and he's done 8 pit stops, therefore 9 stints, and I can't see what tire he's currently on in my telemetry tool. I can obviously see it as a spectator in the session that he is on hard tires right now, but it's a bit broken.
Well, he's winning the title for most pit stops in a race, so we'll give him that.
Yep.
That's at least something. Just having a look at the gains and loss, folks. Obviously, we've got Arjen Sanger, who's currently with 18 positions gained at the start of this race. Sebastian Bobek gaining 16. Zafso gaining 12. We've got Phoenix gaining 16 as well. Tom has lost 4. Bushy Ants has gained 10. Juswan Ali's gained 5. Tiamat Marduk gaining 6. Curbs has started well, basically currently finishing where he started. Infratic down 2, Scars up 2, Dirt Chocolate down 5, Liam down 9, with Shadow down 12. So there you have it. That's the view. And of course, we've had these tyre changes as well. 4 for Iron Sanga. Obviously, the reduced tyre changes, I suppose, means that you've pitted the less. So at the same time, very, very. It means smart strategy play, doesn't it, Badgerman? Obviously, the less you stay in the pits, the less you I suppose you've bottled your strategy calls.
Certainly, I mean, one situation, if we think back, that definitely increased most drivers' pit stop counter by 2 was the decision to go on to wets, which turned out to be a bad decision because the wet weather period was not long enough. No, I shouldn't say wet weather. The wet tire period wasn't long enough to be worth it, as we saw from the gap that Sebastian Bobek had. And so, you know, we had that situation, and that adds 2 tires, two pit stops, one for the wets and one back to inters that you didn't have to do. So there's certainly that, and then otherwise, you know, generally crashes come into play as well. I remember seeing Bushy pitting end of lap 1 for new inters from old inters to have a wing change. So that certainly props it up as well. So the less changes, the less pit stops generally, the better. And that's why we see Dirk in P12, and that's why we see the only car with only 4 stops, Arian Sanga, in the lead of the race right now.
Yeah, very smart calls by Arian Sanga. Obviously very patient as well, alongside with his strategy calls, but his pace has been electrifying. 2.1 seconds clear now of Sebastian Bobek, who currently still stays in 2nd place, with Zafso currently sat in 3rd as well. Obviously lots to come still. We've got plenty of laps still to go. And, we currently sit here in the realms of, well, coming into the final 20 very shortly, as we now take a look at Dirk Chocolate's POV as he makes his way through the final sector. Obviously looking pretty pensive, pretty sharp, just nursing his car around the track, but he's currently being pursued as well by Liam, who's obviously going to challenge him now for that 12th place. We're now seeing him head down the straight, and Dirk might now have to concede the place, as now Liam, fastest lap so far with a 1:39.5. In comes Liam now, takes that P12 away from Dirk Chocolate, and now will make his way down this next straight. Hard tyres on Dirk Chocolate's car. Very bold decision, but there we go. He's got a lot to do at this point. He's just been overtaken by Liam on the soft tyres.
Yeah, I mean, what people are saying in the chat that Ben got screwed by a glitch with selecting old tires. I'm not so sure that it is a glitch, because I would have to check on his VOD what tire allocation he chose loading into the lobby, because I saw him in a test lobby sort of an hour before the proceedings here started. He was choosing the harder tire distribution. If he's done that for this race, then he only had 1 set of mediums available, and that was a used set that now has 28 laps in it, 17 after the first stint. If he's chosen the balance allocation, then it is a glitch. But if he's chosen either the harder or the softer allocation, it's not a glitch. It's Ben screwing up his tire allocation. And therefore, you know, maybe the glitch could be, okay, they're saying he has a new tire. It shows new tire. It might be that it's a visual glitch then. He doesn't actually have a new tire because he chose a different allocation, but the game shows that he does have new tires, which, yeah, it's a visual glitch at that point. That would be a glitch, fair enough. But yeah, this is why you don't mess around with tire allocations. There was no need for them to open it up, because generally the hard tire is the worst. The soft tire isn't that good either, and the medium allocation is the only one where you get 2 mediums. So yeah, makes very little sense. But we have a nice prediction in chat there. Safso is bottling it on lap 55. I don't see that happening. He's been going strong for 51. He's so comfortably in P3 right now. He could afford to lose P3 and 4 to Phoenix and Tom, and just stay ahead of Bush, and even lose to Bushy. Drop down to P6, and he'd still be fine. He's just gonna drive cool, calm, and collected. You know, being a race manager right now, and just bring this up. No need to overextend yourself. A good horse only jumps as high as it has to.
It's very true words there. Wise sentiments from one Badgerman, as we're now looking at Just One Ali and Timoth Marduk coming together. And in fact, Timoth Marduk being allowed through by Just One Ali. Interesting scenes there, but Timoth Marduk now in 7th place and has moved ahead of his contender for the title as well. Not forgetting these two, Piece 2 and Piece 3 for the championship. And now Timoth Marduk in 7th spot and a switcheroo. Whether there was an issue with the two coming together, but it almost looked like Just One Ali gave way to Timoth Marduk as now we hit 10 laps to go here in the Singapore Grand Prix.
And I tell you what, with the tyre wear that Timoth Marduk has on his tyres, 30-lap old mediums at this point, he's going to have to pit again for softs. Mediums only last up to 35 laps. Maybe if you are a bit of a tyre whisperer, maybe 36, 37, 38. We have Carbon Shadow around. He's going again. Oh my goodness, I thought he was in the wall, and now
could you imagine another safety car with 9 laps to go? Or 10 laps to go. Oh my goodness me, look at Just One Ali though, having a real look down the inside there of Timoth Marduk. Obviously very concerned with the amount of time he might lose in behind the McLaren, but it was a very ambitious send and a real big moment at that point. Incredible stuff indeed. Of course, here at this particular moment in time, could you imagine if both the championship contenders take themselves out? Great news for Zafso, but also we've got to consider the fact that we could yet still see a last-minute safety car. I mean, like I said, folks, can you imagine? I get the feeling. Now, this is one of those races where it could happen, Badgerman. Not being funny, but while the clock ticks downwards, and the closer we get to lap 61, we could yet see something special.
We certainly could. It's 9 laps remaining now as Arian has crossed the line just about 15 seconds ago. And yeah, anything can still happen. One safety car, and all of a sudden everyone would probably switch on to soft tires. And when they do, all of a sudden you've got that situation going on where everyone's going to be tussling for position. Everyone's bunched up, tussling for position. Penalties start coming into play. Safzo, by the way, the only driver in the whole field, including all the drivers that have retired, to have kept his nose entirely clean. 0 warnings. I'm not talking about penalty, I'm talking about not even a warning. There is Sebastian Bobek, who has a couple of warnings. Bush Janssen, Timoth Marduk, 1 each, but no penalties. Liam, 2 warnings, but no penalty. Carbon Shadow, 2 warnings, no penalty. But the only one without a single warning, Safsa, and that is a championship drive.
I mean, we've got to give credit as well to Tom here. He's on for his best performance this season. He's now seeing Infratic come together, and he's actually challenging Phoenix for on-track 4th place. Obviously, don't forget as well, Tom has got a penalty. We've got a huge battle going on as well in the bottom end of the top 10. As now Curbs and Infratic come together. Infratic managing to get himself up into 9th place ahead of Curbs. And in comes Scars as well, also looking to take his place as well. I mean, Scars has been really rapid towards the end of this race. Remember, he overtook, we saw him overtake Dirk Chocolate earlier on. He's making place after place and starting to chop at that wood. He's looking to try and get into the top 10, and you fancy him for it as well as he ventures out of the hairpin at turn 13.
Yeah, there's a lot of fighting going on generally. Scars wants to make a couple of positions. Liam as well. He's 3 seconds behind this group of Infratic, Curbs and Scars, but he's on those soft tires, and he's going to fly in these last couple of laps, so he should be challenging those guys as well. Plus, they all have penalties. He doesn't, so at least not yet, I should say. Oh, Curbs is around.
Curbs is round. Curbs is round. It was a very big moment heading through the final sector, and that's allowed Scars now to move up into 10th place. A big moment indeed for Curbs, and surely that'll allow Dirk Chocolate to even challenge him too. But what an insane moment there. Could have ended in tears for him, but still nonetheless, Scars continues, and Curbs now behind Liam, who currently sits in 11th place.
Yeah, very unfortunate there. I think that might be the dangers of Curbs not being able to look over the steering wheel. But
Sebastian Bobek. Sebastian Bobek going slowly as well.
Yeah. He's letting Tom through as well. Safso's through. He's got wing damage, right side front wing, end plate gone. I can't tell how much damage it is because he doesn't have his telemetry on. Phoenix going through. and Bobek now having to hold on for dear life here in these closing laps. But again, it doesn't change the championship picture all too much. Safso still in P2 now, actually increasing his lead a little bit over Cemil Marduk and Jusman Ali. And Bobek now pitting full soft tires, possibly taking the fastest lap away at the end of this all. But very unfortunate there for Bobek. He's probably hoping for a safety car in these closing laps here. We have 13.5 minutes left on the counter. So if we don't get a safety car, we will end on lap 61. And we will end, I think, about possibly 4 or 5 minutes short of the 120-minute mark. However, if we do get a safety car, that might be very well in danger.
Yeah, could well do. Brace yourself, folks. The drama keeps on coming. Tom currently sits in third, though. On track third. Obviously, we know that Phoenix will obviously take his place, given the fact that penalties are stacked the way they are. But if Tom can gap him to a significant amount, there is a big chance that Tom could walk away with his very first podium. Now, that would be, I think, it would mean a lot to him. He's yet to score one. Obviously this season, since we started the Creator Series back in Azerbaijan, of course his best result coming at China, where he would take 5th place. And it's his only, well, I would say he's had 2 top 10 performances, but that was his only top 5 performance. And now to follow up China with a 3rd place, I mean, that would do so much for his championship standing. He currently sits with 12 points heading into this race weekend, but just think he could jump the likes of Hayden Gullis, not to mention Eye Contrast, Tom 97, and even his teammate potentially, Bushy Ants as well. Although I think that might be a little bit too ambitious. Bushy Ants currently sitting with 25 points, obviously after his superb result at China. And not to mention Bushy will be in line to take points himself. Alpine on for a good bumper load of points here today. The best performing team in this race today, without any shadow of a doubt, have been consistent all race long. And currently, if you look at it on paper, Alpine on to score big here today. Yeah, certainly. Them and AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri, however, courtesy of just one driver, Arian, who's leading the race here right now. He would score 25 points, and then Tom and Bushy together would also be on 25 points. So that would be equal for those two teams. Meanwhile, Tom is actually closing in on Safso. I don't think it's going to be enough. By the way, the prediction did not work out. Safso is past lap 55 now, and he has not binned it. So, oh, okay, there you go. He meant lap 56. Of course he did. Well, you know, now's the time. I mean, if it's going to happen, it'll happen. I mean, now we're watching Safso take the hairpin at turn 13.
Next time. Yeah, there you go. He's saying lap 57, actually. Watch next time he's going to say, I meant lap 58. My bad.
Well, there we go. You know, you gotta love it. I mean, this is Creator Series, folks. You gotta have a bit of fun at the Creator Series, and we do really appreciate it. Remember, if you haven't done so already, you can follow the Creator Series channel here on Twitch as well. And if you do follow the Creator Series channel as well, you might want to check out the socials, of course, at F1 Creator Series on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube as well. Plenty of clips for you guys to check out. Make sure you as well keep clipping the features that you see here in this race, because obviously your clips could make it to the highlight reel, so don't miss out as we're now watching Safso cross the line. 5 laps confirmed to go here in the Singapore Grand Prix. Will Safso be crowned your very first Creator Series world champion? You'll find out in 5 laps time. He's looking good right now as Tom begins to close up the door.
Yeah, and again, Safso won't actually be bothered by this. If he sees him close enough, which right now he does, at some point he's just going to let him through. He's not even going to bother. Because Tom right now, he has a battle that he has to contend with on time against Phoenix. There goes the fastest lap by Sebastian Bobek, 38.2. I don't think anyone can beat that right now. That's on fresh soft tires with about 5 laps left in the race. Can't really beat that. From a guy who all race has been incredibly quick and just a bit unlucky here towards the end. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be beaten. But yeah, Tom has a battle to contend with Phoenix here on time. 3 seconds that he has to drive out in terms of penalties. And he's almost done that. But he wants to get past Safso and make sure that it is more than 3 seconds. Whereas Safso, right now, he's got no battle. the only two drivers that he's battling with, Chemit Marduk in P6, just one Ali in P8, he's not too fussed about. They're so far behind, and he's got the lead in the championship already from before this race. 2 points on Ali, 5 on Chemit Marduk. That would only increase, and even if he loses 2-3 positions, he'd still get the jump on them, and he would still win the championship. So for him, it's just about managing the car. We have a yellow flag. What is happening? Okay, we're good.
Not quite as so big.
I thought there was going to be something. That's the only way in which Safso could potentially lose it. If we do get a safety car, and all of a sudden everyone bunches up, goes to soft, and then it's just pandemonium for the last 2 laps.
Well, don't write off, drama in the Creator Series. Now Tom looking to move up into 2nd place and looks on cards to score his very first podium this season. A great move there from Tom. And I'm sure there's going to be delight, certainly for the Alpine, but managing to move up ahead there of Safso. Of course, Safso won't be complaining too much. He doesn't lose the championship should it stay like this. He will remain on the podium and will pick up the championship to boot as well. But I tell you what, the story is right now, we could be on for yet another different winner in the Creator Series. 7 races, 7 different winners. Can you believe it, Benjamin?
I can, yeah. Considering what we've seen, it is quite incredible, but it is very, very interesting as well to see that it's the title for first repeat winner is still open for next season. So anyone watching right now, you definitely have a reason to tune in when we start season 2. Zinfratic is around, I think. There was something going on with Scars as well. Liam got past both of them. Don't know exactly what happened. And
Scars is given a position. He's given a position, so I'm guessing Scars maybe tried something a little overzealous and is now given the position back. So that's good courtesy there from Scars. Regardless, not sure quite what happened there, but nevertheless, very, very good showing from him. Tom, incidentally, closing the gap now, or trying to, on Iron Sanger. Obviously, I don't think Sanger's really got a lot to worry about, given the fact that we've got 3 laps to go.
Dirk is trying to cause a safety car again.
Oh, is he? Incredible. Yeah. Surely not.
He was causing that yellow flag there, but didn't. He
thought about it.
Happen this time. He thought about He gave it a good consideration, but Tom, and that penalty might be crucial. 9 seconds now, his penalty total, and that will make sure that he is going to drop down to 4th place. Behind Safso and behind Phoenix. That penalty incredibly costly there for the Dutch bomb. And, man. You had one job, Tom. You had one job. Stay within track limits and just drive decently quick. Oh, man.
Very true.
He's gonna be angry with himself more than anything over that.
I think he will be too. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, we know what Tom's like. He loves to win. It's in his pedigree. He's a very good streamer. Obviously, still yet to get a race win this season, of course, in the Creator Series. As we're going to take a look at curbs as well. Oh, Tom's binned it! Out. He's lost it!
Tom crashed out deliberately. No, that's deliberate. He did not care. He was angry with himself and he crashed out. And we do not get a safety car because Arian just started lap 60 of 61. It would have been too late. So all we get is a yellow flag anyway. But yeah, he deliberately crashed out. He's had it off.
We got the look on his face. He doesn't look overly disappointed. I'm not sure. He doesn't look overly disappointed. I don't know what we can read into that. He's not laughing. He's shaking his head. I don't think that was deliberate. I really don't. He was on for his best result.
I think that was deliberate. It sounded deliberate. I had a bad camera to actually be able to tell it, but it sounded deliberate. Well, it sounded like he just maybe he had equipment issue. That might be the other potential situation that he like, I don't know, his pedal got stuck or something, or his pedal just disconnected or so. I don't know, his wheel I don't know, but it sounded. Then again, he binned it in turn 18, quite close to. I mean, shall I mention it?
You can. Do you dare say it?
That incident was in turn 17, so just the corner before that, really on the straight.
Well, if you want to add a little bit more context to this as well, Tom does drive the Alpine.
Exactly.
So that to me speaks a lot of volumes as well. So are we sincerely saying that he's the new Nelson Piquet Jr.?
I mean, check his points in the standings.
Fair comment. Incredible. Ian Sanger now making his way around the track once again, crossing the start-finish line. Final lap, folks, here at the Creator Series Singapore Grand Prix. It's been a comprehensive performance from Ian Sanger, but now for the final time, he'll make his way around the circuit of Singapore at Marina Bay. Brilliant to say the least. A tremendous drive. He's given everything. And a big warm welcome to Tom in the live chat, who has now joined us for what will be the final lap of this glorious championship that we've certainly delivered it. I hope you guys have all enjoyed it back at home as well. How can you summarise our first season, Badgerman?
Incredible. Just battles all through, storylines that were written and that will be continued to be written in the next season as well. And, just very, very, a lot of variety as well. I mean, we still haven't had a driver who won 2 races. So, what else can you ask for? There's so many drivers that are capable of winning this championship next season. There are so many drivers that are capable of winning races. If you're missing out on this, if you're not watching live, if you're not watching yet, you should be tuning in.
Well, that's absolutely spot on from Badgerman, and making his way through the final sector now. Chicane after chicane is what beckons this man that has turned up here today, here at the Creator Series. Obviously started, qualified in 19th this championship as well, taking you from Azerbaijan, Silverstone, Austria, not forgetting Belgium. We had the Netherlands, China, and finally here at Singapore. And for the first time in the Creator Series, AlphaTauri as well, taking their second win. Ian Sanger wins the Singapore Grand Prix, but that's not the story. It's Safso for the first time, a Creator Series champion, the very first champion, smashes it in style for the Mercedes. The Silver Arrows takes the top step in this World Championship. He is now crowned the Creator Series first ever champion. What a way to end, folks. Cars littered across the grid. He is the Creator Series champion of the world, folks.
And what a fantastic season for Safso. Absolutely deserved championship win here. And I think he's going to celebrate. What a season for him. And there's incredible stuff. Just truly, truly incredible stuff. You got to remember as well, when the Creator Series wasn't the Creator Series, they had a sort of differently named predecessor. And it was Safso who was the highest ranked driver in there, let's say, who wasn't using any form of cheats. Let's say it cautiously, right? He had 102 points in 8 races there. And that season also saw drivers such as Bushy Ants regularly competing. Hayden Gullis, Rutanius, Dirk, of course. Not that he's... I mean, I'm not going to go there. Tom was competing in 4 of the races. Infratic was there. Jusman Ali was there for 1 race. And so, you had him there, and he was consistent, and he was strong. And he shows exactly that here as well. And a deserved championship win for Safso.
Yeah, incredible championship win. The cars all smashing as they cross the line. Ben Daly picked up the fastest lap on the final lap of all places, so has managed to secure that as well, taking it off the likes of Ian Sanger as well, who had it for a strong majority of the race too. But that's not what Ian Sanger will be celebrating. He has taken the Singapore Grand Prix victory here at Marina Bay. What a way to do it. Second place though, Safso, who has taken the crown of champion and will lift it aloft no less. And an incredible drive from Phoenix as well to take the final podium place here at the Creator Series season. What a story this has been. A journey that has lasted 7 races long has come to an end. A 3-way fight for the title that has been decided under the lights of Marina Bay. It is going to Safso. This is your final order, folks. Your winner, Ian Sanger, has taken the Singapore Grand Prix after starting 19th on the grid. Safso second, with Phoenix in third. Bushy Ants in fourth. Sebastian Bobeck managing to strive back for 5th. Liam in 6th, Just Ali in 7th, Infratic managing to get into the top 10 with 8th place, Scars in 9th, Tiamat Marduk stole the fastest lap right at the very end in brilliant style P10, Curbs in 11th, Dirk Chocolate in 12th, Carbon Shadow, he finished in 13th, and we lost Tom, Adam, Meriki, Itzilki, Lars, Mr. Dale and Formula Races. They all, unfortunately, were out of the race. But how do you summarise that, folks? An incredible season. We couldn't do it without you guys at home. It's been a sensational journey all this season long. I mean, I think we can just be pleased. That's a record to be proud of. A different race driver winning each different race. You just can't beat that. That's a competitive season, in my view.
Yes, certainly. And let's hope we continue the season 2 just like that. We'll love to see that as well. And I hope, I obviously haven't been much involved in the planning for that, but it's only 2 weeks until the new season starts. So I would expect that us two are going to be back for that as well. And I'd be super excited for that. Well, I'll be super excited for that. And what a season, what a race tonight. And I think a very strong case that Singapore should be the season finale every single time in every league and in real life.
I think so. I think Singapore has definitely delivered. I think you guys at home have delivered as well. Thank you all for the kind comments as well and everything. It's been an incredible season. The growth the Creator Series has witnessed has been sensational. We've brought, again, the love to the Formula 1 game. We love this game. We love this platform. We love this community. That's exactly what this is all about, folks. You yourselves are part of this community, and we love having you on board and part of it too. And that's what the Creator Series is all about. You know, we're here to make great memories, great moments. And big thank you as well to Tom with the raid. Welcome to all the Tom people. Obviously, a little bit of a disaster for you guys towards the end of that race, to say the least, as Tom would bin it in the Alpine as well. But looking ahead to next season, obviously we've got lots to look forward to, Badgerman. Lots to look forward to. Because like you say, new season just around the corner. Not to mention some big names still to join the grid. You know, there's going to be rumours flying around, creators left, right and centre want to become part of the Creator Series. We've already seen some drivers that we probably would never have expected show up here. The likes of iContrast. Obviously, we've got the likes of Tom97 part of this as well. We haven't seen him in a little while. Hayden Gullis is obviously popped over to the Netherlands for the moment. I'm sure he'll be back soon, though. And various others. It's going to be a really jam-packed start to a brand new season when we go racing for Season 2.
Yeah, and not just that, Season 1 obviously was a little bit short. We're talking about 7 races that we've had. Season 2 is likely going to be a bit longer than that, from what I can see here. There's a proposed calendar, but it's going to be a bit more than 7 races. I see 2 different calendars here. Oh no, this is the IRL calendar, sorry. So I see, a calendar here that has, I don't know if we're going to do that, but 22 races is what Dirk is suggesting. I think that might change, but definitely more than 7, that is guaranteed. The first race should be at Bahrain in 2 weeks' time already. March 4th. That's when Season 2 starts. So we're not going to be gone for long. You have 1 week break next Saturday. Do whatever you want to do. And in 2 weeks' time, we'll be back right here. Same time as always with Season 2 of the Creator Series.
This was very much the pilot season, folks. You've been part of history. The Creator Series, a brand new league that has certainly developed, become a sensation in its very short time, and already now is delivering on the promise that it made. It certainly has been unprecedented, the amount of support we've had, even from the likes of the F1 game, not to mention the guys. We'd like to thank the guys like Grid Finder as well, who have partnered up with us, not to mention Sim Racing Centre as well. Obviously, Rutanius not with us tonight, but nonetheless, I know he'll be watching on and certainly enjoying what he's seeing. He's also a peripheral part of what we do. Big hello to Phoenix in the live chat as well. Great drive from yourself as well, mate. Big thank you to Zafso for the raid as well. Big thank you to Harry59, the greatest mod sensation you've ever seen. Also behind a lot of the content that we've seen as well on social media. Thank you very much, Pricey. Thank you very much, Taco Man. I want to see you in the championship as well, Taco Man. I know what you're capable of, my friend. I want to see you on this grid too. We got Shinte84 as well. Won't be long, 2 weeks time for new cards. Tell you what, just brace yourself, folks, brace yourself. Hoodie Pete, when the actual race F1 season starts too. Yeah. You know, this is the place to be. You know, this is the championship you need to be watching. El Taco Man confirming soon, my friend. I had my suspicions. Thank you, Hoodie Pete, mate. Great to have you on board. Guys, it's been a privilege. I don't think we've got any interviews tonight. It's a quiet night tonight, certainly here in the commentary box, but we would like to personally thank you for all your support. Like I said to you folks, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you slap a follow down to this channel and stay up to date for when we go racing in 2 weeks' time for Season 2. You can also check out the social medias as well. Harry has very kindly put the links as well, or he's trying to put the links in the live chat for you.
The bot isn't working today.
The bot doesn't want to be our friend today. So I'm going to tell you what they are instead. You can also see it in the graphic just above me, to this side actually, just above me. At F1 Creator Series on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Make sure you check those out. Lots of stuff there for you guys to check out and enjoy.
Or just follow the link of Major in the chat there.
Yes, or you can do what Demega has done. Or literally everything is on that link. But again, if you want to be a manual typer, you can also type at F1 Creator Series on all those social links as well. Don't forget, folks, as well, stay tuned in. Like I said, the new season is only 2 weeks away. Make sure you do. If you want to check me out as well, you can find me at George Morgan TV on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok and Facebook. Badgerman, would you like to share your socials, if you please?
Yeah, very similar for me. You can find me at Badgerman TV on Twitter, but also at Badgerman here on Twitch, where I'm mostly diving into F1 Manager. So if you want to learn a bit more about strategy, you know, about making the right decision at the right time in a game like F1 Manager, that's where you can find me as well.
Big shout out as well to Tiamat Marduk. Big shout out to Badgerman. Again, the man behind the knowledge. So there we have it. Tiamat Marduk, big thank you for the raid as well, my friend. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone in the live chat. It was Zapso who would be crowned the very first Creator Series champion for Season 1. Season 2 just around the corner. New stories to be written. New journeys to be unfurled. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Take care, folks. Goodbye.